but commentary comes from a must-win game for Manchester United away to FC Copenhagen. They lost there with Rooney and Ronaldo up front in 2006. What can they do with Maguire and Evans at the back tonight? It's live on Talksport with the former Benfica defender Scott Minto alongside Jim Proudfoot.
Adrian, thank you. Well, it was 37 years ago today that Sir Alex Ferguson had his first match in charge of Manchester United. A 2-0 defeat at Oxford that left United in the bottom three and which illustrated the size of the task he'd taken on. A generation on his reign remains football's archetypal lesson. The bleak situations can be turned around from improbable standpoints. But such patience has seldom been seen anywhere since, whether it's appropriate or not. Now, Erik ten Hag's success at Old Trafford has been much more immediate. Trophy delivered in the first season, top three finish that heralded a return to the Champions League, all laced with the promise of more. But that promise at the moment remains unfulfilled. The case for mitigation is an easy one to plead, but when you've lost 8 of the first 16 games this season, sit adrift of the positions expected in both League and Europe, and have been knocked out of the cup you're defending, mitigation can fall on deaf ears. Critics would point to an element of fortune within the wins, not least against Copenhagen a fortnight ago. As Ten Hag himself admitted, if both clubs produce a similar performance tonight, United can't expect to win, and if they don't, their prospects of getting out of the group will be less than 50-50, perhaps significantly so. And with Luton visiting Old Trafford on Saturday, this is a week that could be so instructive for what lies ahead. Win tonight, and Ten Hag will have got to 50 victories quicker than any United manager in 118 years. Win of the weekend, he'll have overseen more victories in his first 50 top-flight games than any previous United boss. Impressive statistics, completely at odds with the narrative. And failure to win either might see him praying for the patience that Sir Alex was allowed way back when. Well, the teams are coming out, they line up like this. Copenhagen, Grabara in goal, Ankerson, Vavro, Dixon, Yellet, Larea, Felk, Diogo Gonçalves, Elyounoussi, Klaassen, and Achour is the same 11 that lost at Old Trafford a fortnight ago. Manchester United make 3 changes to that team. They make 1 to the side that won at Fulham. Anana's in goal, same back 4, Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Evans and Dalot. McTominay alongside Eriksen. Bruno Fernandes at 10. Rashford back in the side replacing Anthony. Garnacho on the other wing. And Rasmus Højlund up front. I'm delighted to say that the former Benfica and Chelsea defender Scott Minto is alongside me tonight. Scott, big night for so many Manchester United players for a variety of reasons. Going to pick out 3. Evans, first Champions League tie in 10 years. Eriksen's first ever club game in Denmark, which is a remarkable statistic. And Højlund, who has played in his homeland, who scored an international hat-trick on this ground, but back at the club he supported as a boy, and desperate to get himself going in a United shirt.
Absolutely, mate. Let's go through that then. Johnny Evans, I think what a fantastic professional he's been throughout his whole career. I don't think he expected to be playing the Champions League football for Manchester United or anybody if you'd have spoken to him a year or so ago. But here he is right now, and I think with him and Harry Maguire, communication is really important. Athletically, I think they can be got at, but as long as communication is there along the whole back 4, but also especially between the 2 of them, then they can get through this game. Look, with the greatest of respect, Copenhagen were better for large parts of the game at Old Trafford, but these aren't world-class players they're up against, so I think as long as that communication is there, that can be sorted. Christian Eriksen, yeah, well, he came on at half-time in the last game, and I thought he was absolutely superb. As I said to Aid, it took him 5 or 10 minutes to get into the game in the second half. After that, he was pulling the strings, and the cross he put in for the goal was superb. They controlled the tempo of the game when he was able to get into the match. So it was a really good substitution from Ten Hag, and he did really well. And there's no doubt about it. It's incredible to think it's his first time playing in Denmark. So that will be in his mind as well. He will want to try that little bit harder on top of just being a top professional and playing for Manchester United. In terms of Højlund, well, it's the amount of money that's been spent on him, I think, is incredible in itself. The pressure, and yet I actually really like the look of him. I don't think he's been given the chances by the wide players who really come inside and try and shoot themselves. So they've not really helped in the terms of assists, but his movement, his pace, his touch, And just that one thing lacking, which is kind of important for a striker, sticking the ball in the back of the net. But I don't think he's had a lot of opportunities.
No, still waiting for his first Premier League goal, but he has got 3 in this Champions League group. And I guess when you're a young player, even more so, there's a lot to be said for being back on familiar surroundings. His family in the crowd. A couple of his brothers, of course, on the books for Copenhagen. One of them scored in the UEFA Youth League earlier today against Manchester United as the Danes came back from 2 down in that game. He's got twin brothers, the other twin, Oscar, on the bench tonight, but his dad, who's a player himself, here watching, and he's been in the focus of the spotlight, but he knows this place inside out. He only played 15 club games at the park, but he knows it.
It's a talented family, isn't it?
Oh, not much. Absolutely. They're underway at Arsenal. We will keep you up to date with everything of any consequence that happens there. Arsenal ready with a corner inside the opening 30 seconds. And we're underway in the game taking place at the Parken Stadium in Copenhagen tonight, where the Danish side in all white kick from right to left in the first half. Manchester United in their traditional red shirts, black shorts, on the back foot from the off. The ball sailing over the head of the midfield. It was cleared by McTominay into Maguire. Manchester United get it forward quickly. There are big appeals for a handball against Maguire in the mix of that. He knew nothing about it. It would have been a very tough call against him. And United are able to get the ball forward. The ball did strike his arm, though, Scott.
It did. I'll tell you what, it was just... I don't think it was quite in an unnatural position, but it was a really poor defending from McTominay. He's trying to help out his back four, but read that ball coming in late and just kicked it against Maguire's arm. Maguire had no chance in the end, but there's no doubt about it. It came off his arm.
So 8 Champions League games tonight, 2 of them already over. Napoli 1, Union Berlin 1. David Fofana scoring the first goal that Union Berlin have managed in 561 minutes of football. So best part of 9.5 hours. It snapped a 12-game losing streak, their first point in the Champions League this season. Real Sociedad beating Benfica, one of Scott's old clubs, by 3 goals to 1. They will be through tonight if Inter win their game away at RB Salzburg. And should that happen, then the Italian champions and last season's, or the Italian league leaders, and last season's Champions League runners-up would also be through to the knockout stages. Manchester United can't go through or go out tonight. Copenhagen can go out. Manchester United have the ball out the back. We're a couple of minutes in here on Talksport, and it's 0-0 between Copenhagen and United, and Maguire in blue boots just making his way forward at walking pace, coming outside the penalty area, plays it to his left for Johnny Evans, and then Evans goes back for Onana. Did play for United in a couple of Champions League semi-finals back in the day, Evans. One in 2009, and then again a couple of years after that. And he's just waving Maguire forward as he ventures out from the back, finding Maguire. Boos and whistles for Maguire when he's in possession. And United playing this very, very slowly and deliberately at the moment, trying to take their sting out of the situation with 2.5 gone to 0-0.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, what you want to do when you're away from home is try and quieten the crowd, and the best way to do that is just keep the ball. You don't always have to create lots of situations and chances. Just keep the ball. Don't let the opposition actually get on it. And at the moment, they're playing very well out from the back.
Now Rashford, who's standing on the United right, has brought Fernandez's high aerial ball down quite beautifully. Wan-Bissaka on the overlap, flicking it inside the penalty area. Good run from McTominay, and it's in. 1-0 Manchester United. Rasmus Højlund, a perfect start. He could not miss. 3 minutes in, and United have the breakthrough. Superb play from back to front, and Rasmus Højlund's there. 1-0.
Brilliant play for Manchester United. Really patient at the back, just passing it back and forth, quite happy for it to go back to Onana, and then suddenly the crossfield pass was played, and the run from McTominay just inside when the ball was out on the right wing. It was Wan-Bissaka who got himself up to pretty much the byline. He played it inside to McTominay. He wasn't picked up at all. He's almost inside the 6-yard box, but to the side, so he very cleverly and unselfishly just whips it across the 6-yard box. And Højlund in the right place at the right time. And Jim, we were talking about the lack of chances that he's had. You know, I just wonder, the likes of maybe Anthony or Marcus Rashford, if they were in that position, whether they would have had a shot. Scott McTominay knew his job. Great run. great pass, simple finish in the end.
His 7th goal in his last 8 European ties. Scored at Bayern in his first time in the Champions League proper, a couple against Galatasaray. Scores against his boyhood club now. Rasmus Højlund for Manchester United, an early settler for Erik ten Hag and his men. All they have to do now is keep a clean sheet.
Yeah. We've got a long way to go for that one, but absolutely, I talk about the perfect start, try and keep the ball. That's the perfect start. You know, score away from home. And the fans booing every time that United are on the ball, but they'll have a long time booing at the moment because United have started really well. Where Old Trafford, it was actually Copenhagen who started the better side.
Yeah, they hit the post about this stage of the game. In that game at Old Trafford, they have 5 shots inside the opening 6 minutes. So far tonight, Onana's had nothing to do. Manchester United have been the better side. They playing through the press delightfully. Bruno Fernandes, great control from Rashford. Good run from Wan-Bissaka. McTominay with a pinpoint delivery. Højlund there to tap it in. One of the best moments of Manchester United's season.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, you talk about McTominay as well. And maybe, I don't know if the club or Ten Hag wanted him to go. There was certainly talk about if a big bid came in. You know, David Moyes wanted him. Was he going to go to Newcastle? But he's a player with character. He may not be the most talented player at Manchester United, but you know what you get with him. He's physically strong. He can run up and down. He's got a decent touch. And while he's not the most creative, he's not a number 10, he can certainly go from deep and make that run off the back of someone. And he's also very unselfish. He's a team player. It's a great ball in, and it was a simple finish for Højlund.
Well, those are the thoughts of Scott Minto. It's 6 minutes in. It's Copenhagen 0, Manchester United 1. The first goal in the 8 o'clock kickoffs. There's one Scottish Premiership game tonight. Hibs haven't won since they beat St Mirren in the League Cup quarter-final 6 games ago. They lead 1-0 in Paisley tonight, with Josh Campbell scoring his 4th of the season. Copenhagen bringing the ball forward. Flicked round the corner by the Swedish international Klaassen. One back by United. Garnacho on his favoured left-hand side. Plays it back for Dalot. Dalot through the midfield towards Evans. Evans, again, stepping up from the defensive line. Just goes back a little bit deeper for Harry Maguire. United have only won one of the last 7 games they've played away from home in the Champions League. That was under Michael Carrick at Villarreal back in 2021. They've only kept 1 clean sheet in the last 12 away games in the Champions League, which was that same match. So they'll know that there's a long way to go in this as yet. And it is amazing, though, in Ten Hag's managerial career, he's got a much better record away from home in this competition than he has at home. Suffered 10 defeats in the Champions League as a manager, Erik ten Hag, and 8 of them have been on home soil, only 2 away from home in almost an identical number of games. We're 7 minutes into this one. Rasmus Højlund on 3 minutes. Copenhagen 0, Manchester United 1. And Evans finds Wan-Bissaka.
Sorry, Jim, it's interesting, isn't it? Because last season, you know, Old Trafford, especially in the Premier League, was almost a fortress, and it was the away from home where United were weak. And I'm sure he can't put a finger on just what's happened this season. You know, actually, last season finishing 3rd, 2 cup finals, winning one of those, and then you've improved the squad, or so you thought. You think, right, we're going to step up, and we may not win the title, but maybe we can do what Arsenal did last season. And it's looked at times, he hasn't got a clue what's happened. He's talked about standards so many times, and it is about standards. But are these players capable of dealing with the pressure and playing for a club like Manchester United? They haven't shown that so far this season. Those same players, a lot of them, who actually did well certainly towards the end of last season. So it's a real problem for him. But games like Fulham, even though they didn't play particularly well, and games like starts like tonight will really help if they can get back-to-back wins and get the confidence back.
Garnacho lays it down for Dalot, the left-back making his way forward for United. Now McTominay, the heart of the midfield, bypasses Wan-Bissaka to pick out Rashford. Rashford flicking it down the right-hand side of the area. It's too heavy for Wan-Bissaka, who actually has done well. Chasing a lost cause, he wrapped his right foot around it, and the defender yelled in the process, but the ball still goes out of play for a goal kick. Great start for United. What about Arsenal in the early stages? Here's Talksport's Alex Crook.
Arsenal 0, Sevilla 0. Kai Havertz hasn't scored from open play for Arsenal yet. Won't get many better chances, but he got inside a minute. Martinelli with a corner. Havertz unmarked, headed wide. Arsenal 0, Sevilla 0.
And the game stopped in Copenhagen just for a moment because there has been a pitch invader who's come on with a white banner with one would imagine a political message on it, which the TV director isn't showing for obvious reasons.
Good.
So I can't enlighten you, but it just gives both managers a chance to get their heads around what we've seen so far. Ten Hag will be delighted.
Well, he'll be absolutely delighted, and he'll want the fan off as quickly as possible. He just wants this game to continue. Coming up to the 10-minute mark, and they've absolutely bossed it. They really have. 78% possession so far, and that one goal as well. It's been the perfect start for him, and they've done really well. And it's been interesting to see that, okay, Darlow isn't a natural left-back, so he's not really been bombarded on, but Aaron Wan-Bissaka, a couple of times, including the time at the goal as well, has really tried to get forward. And it's interesting to see. It's a big game for him. It's a big game for everybody. Every game you play in a Manchester United shirt is a massive game, but he wants to be telling not just Ten Hag but everybody that he should be in the team, and it's been a good start from him at right back.
Yeah, and as you say, every game's a big game, every week's a big week, but this one has the feel of being essential. Tonight, then, Luton at home at the weekend, which really is a must-win game as far as Manchester United are concerned, against the Luton side that came so close to beating Liverpool last weekend.
Sorry, Jim, even in terms of this group, though, you look at the group, if they were to lose this, they would be bottom with 2 games left, and could you imagine what the media would be like with that?
Yep, they would have 3 points from 4 games if they were to lose this, but at the moment, they're second in the group, 6 points against their name, 1 clear of Galatasaray, 0-0 their match away to Bayern Munich. Keep you up to date with all the goals as they go in on Talksport. We are back underway with Bruno Fernandes clipping it to the left-hand side for Manchester United, but he couldn't find Eriksen. It's easily headed away, and a chance for Copenhagen to bring the ball forward down their right flank with the defender Ankersen. But they're struggling to keep any kind of possession, really. McTominay's won it back. Play forward to Bruno Fernandes. To his left-hand side is Garnacho. Højlund waiting in the centre. Rashford is at the far post. He's clipped back in towards the edge of the box, but just too far ahead of the run of McTominay. And Felt can bring it away, and he'll be able to release Churi. Churi down the left-hand touchline for the fullback Yellet. Yellet has got Wan-Bissaka back goal side now, although the United defender took a little bit of time to get back. Back it comes from Churi again. Copenhagen breaking quickly, but United, to their credit, got the bodies back. Diogo Gonçalves now finding Felk, who was a very close childhood friend of Christian Eriksen. They both came from the same town of Middelfart. Here is Felk making his way forward, right-footed effort, and Arna actually spilt it, but no harm done. It came back out of his hands, but nobody was following up. He can gather at the second attempt with 12 minutes in, and United lead 1-0.
Well, he shouldn't have been allowed that much space to run, and no one was getting close to him at all. Neither McTominay nor Eriksen, and he got to the edge of the box, almost centre of goal, 18, 19 yards out. Just as well, the shot wasn't too good. A simple save from Onana in the end.
Well, Johnny Evans has had to wait so long for a return to Champions League football, but he's picked up an injury here, and the ball's been put out of play so he can receive whatever treatment is necessary. Is that potentially a groin problem? He's down on one knee on the edge of the box, and he's waiting for the medical staff to come on and attend to him.
Yeah, he's not actually put his hand to any kind of issue there, has he? Whether it be thigh, hamstring, calf, or the groin. But it would be disappointing. He was shaking his head a couple of times, if like, I can't carry on like this.
Well, there's another goal in Arsenal's group. PSV leading Lens by a goal to nil. Luc de Jong with his 16th goal of the season for the Dutch league leaders, who've got a perfect record in the Eredivisie this season. They've won 11 out of 11, only one defeat in 36, which came against Arsenal. PSV leading Lens 1-0. Let's go back to North London. Here's Talksport's Alex Crook.
14 minutes gone. It's still Arsenal 0, Sevilla 0. Kai Havertz heading wide, went unmarked at a corner as close as we come to a goal. Gabriel also nodded over from a Saka free kick. 14 on the clock. Arsenal 0, Sevilla 0.
Cheers, Crookie. And Evans is making his way off the field, having received treatment, which he is duty bound to do. I don't know whether that means that he's going to stay off or whether he will be coming back on. The Copenhagen coach, Jakob Næstrup, has all of his players in a huddle around him, just discussing how things need to improve over the next 75 minutes or so. A game in the EFL Trophy tonight as well. Derby leading Wolves youngsters 2-1. James Collins got both the goals for the Rams. Wolves pulled one back in the early stage of the second half through Josh Essen. In the Champions League, Man United leading in this game away to Copenhagen with Rasmus Højlund on 3 minutes. PSV 1, Lens 0. And earlier Napoli 1, Union Berlin 1. And Real Sociedad 3, Benfica 1. Well, it does look as though Evans' race is run, and he's made his way past Erik ten Hag through the United technical area and still walking down towards the seats. So that really is ominous as far as United are concerned. Evans rejoined from Leicester, made his 500th career appearance at Fulham at the weekend, and has proved to be a more than able deputy. Started 6 games this season. He's going to be replaced by Rafa Varane, who's only started 7. And Varane, with no discernible warm-up, is coming out and just putting his gloves on as well as his shirt to take his place on the field. We're 15 minutes in here on Talksport. Copenhagen 0, Manchester United 1.
It does make me laugh how the modern-day player doesn't seem ready at all to come on if an injury happens. And I'm sure almost the physios were saying to Johnny Evans, look, take your time coming off, because Varane, not only has he not got a shirt on, but he needs to do a little bit of warm-up. He's got to put his gloves on, which he's now done. I have to say, though, if he's 100% fit, okay, he's not quite the player he used to be, but he's a perfect guy to come on, isn't he? Multiple Champions League winner, World Cup winner as well.
Yep, he won it 3 times in his Real Madrid days, in 2014, 17 and 18 as well. Varane on, that means that Harry Maguire's got to swap sides within that centre-half partnership.
Yeah, I don't think he'll have a problem with that. I really don't. You know, he's played on that left side centre-half, well, for many, many years. And it's interesting when Johnny Evans comes in, you know, he does go to the right-hand side. So I think he'd be more than comfortable in this position, and they'd be more than comfortable. I think, look, him and Johnny Evans, I think we talk about that communication. You know, Rafa Varane, his English is good and he's able to communicate, but it's still not quite the same. But I would imagine that he'll be able to use his pace and athleticism a little bit more than Johnny Evans. So it's a different dynamic. It's something that United wouldn't have wanted. Ten Hag certainly wouldn't have wanted. Harry Maguire and even a Nana as well, the goalkeeper, wouldn't have wanted. But it is what he is, and he can certainly use his experience to carry on the great start that United have had so far.
So Varane on for Evans. We played 16 minutes. Probably only seen about 10 minutes worth of action because of the pitch invader and also that injury. A couple of pretty lengthy stoppages. Let me remind you, coming up on Breakfast tomorrow, Alan Brazil and Gabby Agbonlahor will be joined by England women's manager Serena Wiegman. Former Arsenal and Man City striker Emmanuel Adebayor looking back on Arsenal's performance and result tonight. They're still 0-0, 17 minutes in. And Ryan Babel, the one-time Liverpool and Fulham for the Dutch international, will be on with the boys tomorrow. That's Breakfast tomorrow on Talksport from 6 a.m. And in terms of the live football, we're back tomorrow with Liverpool's trip to France. They're away to Toulouse. That's over on Talksport 2, a 5:45 kickoff. With Toulouse taking on Liverpool. Lancashire derby from Ewood Park, Blackburn against Preston, always a belting game with a high intensity, an 8 o'clock kickoff, Talksport 2 on Friday. And then Saturday, it's Wolves Spurs as part of Game Day exclusive, a 12:30 kickoff with a build-up from 11. Spurs just trying to get Monday night out of the system. I know it was a game that you were at, that Tottenham-Chelsea game. Some encounter, wasn't it?
Well, that was some game. I don't think we've seen a game like that for years, and we probably won't for another years. 5 goals scored, 5 disallowed, 2 sendings off, and probably 8 Tottenham players playing across the halfway line. Incredible.
Well, the break in play at the Parkin at the moment is because of a medical emergency in the stands. The 2 sets of players are just going through a warm-up just to keep themselves limbered up whilst the stricken supporter is being attended to. So we'll go back to the Emirates. Arsenal against Sevilla. 18 minutes gone in that one, and it's still 0-0, Alex.
It's indeed Arsenal 0, Sevilla 0. The Gunners should have been ahead inside a minute. Great work from Gabriel Martinelli over on the left-hand side, winning a corner. Martinelli took the corner himself, picked out Kai Havertz, totally unmarked to the far post, but he had no confidence at all, the German, as he headed well wide. 7 minutes later, Saka floated in a free kick from this near touchline. Gabriel couldn't get his header on target, and just a moment ago, Bukayo Saka with a 25-yard free kick high over the crossbar. What it means is that Arsenal, despite dominating possession for these first 20 minutes, haven't really tested the Sevilla goalkeeper Marko Dimitrovic as yet. Arsenal 0, Sevilla 0.
I've got to say as well that Goodell, the Sevilla centre-back, has gone clattering into Saka twice in the first 10 minutes. 2 players doubled up on Saka, trod on his foot, pulled him this way and that way. They are targeting Bukayo Saka, just trying to get stuck into him. He's actually semi-limping at the moment, Bukayo Saka.
standing up to it well, but winning free kicks, clearly being targeted.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got to say, based on this opening 20 minutes, there's only one team really who've come here to play football. That is Arsenal. No surprise, really, when you look at the number of yellow cards that Sevilla have picked up over the course of the season so far. They are a combative side. I think certainly Saka is feeling the force of that. Still 0-0, 20 minutes played here.
Man United 1-0 up. Back to Scott Minto and Jim Proudfoot.
Hi, Adrian. Alex, thank you very much indeed. We are back underway after what was probably a 6-minute break. And hopefully the supporter in the crowd in the stand on the far side, as we're looking at these pictures, is in as comfortable a position as is possible. Our thoughts and best wishes with him. Here's Scott McTominay for Manchester United, bringing the ball forward towards halfway. United leading with our Rasmus Højlund goal on 3 minutes. Probably just about the only touch that he's had in the game. Eriksen knocking it forward. Bruno Fernandes, Højlund on his bike, trying to get in between the two centre-halves. Couldn't quite. United do well, win the second ball. Back from Bruno. Eriksen down towards Maguire. United are playing, in fairness, with a real poise. Not necessarily a panache, but certainly they're in the comfort zone at the moment. They've taken the sting out of Copenhagen, as we've been saying, and they've been under very little danger up to this point at the other end with 20 gone.
It's been the perfect away performance so far. And yeah, 20 minutes gone, maybe 12 minutes played, but not just the goal, but the way they've kept the ball, possession. They've moved it around. They've tried to just suck Copenhagen in and then play through the thirds at times. McTominay playing into Bruno, and Bruno trying to play into Højlund, who's trying to make the movements there. But it feels like this is a game for him where I would think he could get another goal, if not a proper hat-trick.
Rashford sliding the ball forward. He came close to getting a hat-trick against Galatasaray. Here's Bruno Fernandes with a lofted cross out towards the bottom left-hand corner of the penalty area. Chested down by Garnacho. Garnacho faced up by Ankerson, the right back, and he couldn't get past him. And Ankerson and Larrea, between them, will be able to get it forward. Larrea actually the one player featuring tonight who's a yellow card away from a suspension if he's booked. Wearing 12, playing on the right-hand side of the midfield 3 for Copenhagen. Ball headed on by Felt, but nowhere in particular. Rashford's able to pick up the loose ball. Wan-Bissaka making a run to his right. Here's Bruno Fernandes. Plays it straight back for Rashford. Varane. Now to Christian Eriksen. James Collins has got a hat-trick. A 20-minute hat-trick in that EFL Trophy game. Derby 3, Wolves youngsters 1. Dalot. Back to the left for Garnacho. A little pirouette, trying to drag the ball a full 360 around his marker. He's maintained possession and lays it back for Varane. Out towards Wan-Bissaka on the Manchester United right, midway inside Copenhagen territory. Rashford drops deep, flicks it back for Eriksen. Now down towards Varane, who came on for the injured Johnny Evans 2-3 minutes ago. Rashford with a lofted ball forward. Header away came from Vavro at the back. Maguire adjusting his feet, just got the ball caught between the pair of them for a moment, but was able to get it away. And then it's returned with a little bit of interest. Maguire's got to backtrack, retrace his steps. He'll lay back for his goalkeeper. And the Nana will very languidly just pass the ball out from the back towards Varane. Varane to Maguire. United building from the back. We're midway through the first half, but there's already going to be about 8 minutes added on in this first period with United leading 1-0.
Yeah, I mean, look, United have started the game really well. As I say, not just with the goal, but the way they're passing the ball and keeping it. I'm disappointed with Copenhagen. I thought they were excellent at Old Trafford in the first half. And yet, and as you say, created lots of chances early on, and yet they've not only not created any chances, but when they've been on the ball, they're just giving it away.
Long crossfield ball picked up by Garnacho. Garnacho coming in off the left flank. Dalot making a run outside him. Dalot with a deep cross towards the penalty spot. Knocked away. Dix with the first touch, and then Larrea's done well to feed it down the left-hand side, and Yellow will be able to make his way forward. And the young fullback in United territory for Copenhagen. Phelps got it. Back from him for Vavro. Vavro. Past Rashford, down towards Achuri on the left flank. The Copenhagen winger, the Tunisian international. Diogo Gonçalves, the one-time Nottingham Forest player, linking up with Felt. Felt down to the blonde-haired centre-half Vavro. Big, hulking centre-half, taller than the man alongside him, Dix. Now played for by Vavro again. Here's Felt wearing 33, away from Eriksen. United on the back foot, ball inside the penalty area, travelled a long way, and Nana came out, got hands to it, and gathers at the feet of Achuri.
First bit of really good play from Copenhagen, just little short passes between 2 or 3 of them, and then Diogo Dalot he was ball watching, and the ball was played in behind, then a really good just whipped in ball across the box. And I looked at Wan-Bissaka, and he'd let his guy go in front of him as well, so fair play to Onana for coming out and reading the situation.
Maguire to Dalot playing it forward, just smacked it into the nearest Copenhagen player, and it ricocheted back off a pair of legs and just invited a little bit of pressure on him. Immediately Copenhagen lose it. United whack it upfield. Grabara, who used to be on the books of Liverpool, the goalkeeper, comes out, sweeps up outside the penalty area, wearing all blue tonight, wearing a blue mask as well to protect him from a nasty facial injury that he picked up last year. Here's Achuri. Copenhagen slowly getting themselves into this game. That was a very poor ball from Achuri, which gave Klaassen absolutely no chance on the left-hand side of the penalty area. He goes out for a goal kick that'll be taken by Andre Onana, and it remains Copenhagen 0, Manchester United 1.
Yeah, that pass kind of summed up how they've been, apart from that one time where, you know, just nice little passes, whip the ball across. Wan-Bissaka, who I think is an excellent defender, brilliant one-on-one. I think as good as Kyle Walker, I really do, in a different way. But he just fell asleep, and fair play to Andre Onana. He came out, read the situation. So far, it's been more than comfortable for Manchester United.
United losing their first 2 games in this group. There have only been 2 previous occasions where they failed to win either of their opening 2 group games. Once was back in 1998. They were held by both Barcelona and Bayern Munich, got through the group, ultimately lifted the trophy and won the treble. More recently, it happened in 2011. Again, they drew their first 2 matches. They ended up in the Europa League that time. Besides, generally, when they've only picked up 3 points from the first 3 games, which is the situation United are in coming into tonight, history would suggest you've only got a 1 in 4 chance of being able to progress under those circumstances. Just a little less since the Champions League's been its current format over the last 20 years. Only 23% of clubs who've had 3 points after 3 games have made it through. So United with a lot of work to do, but having got their noses in front in this group at the moment stands Bayern with 10 points, United with 6, Galatasaray 5, Copenhagen 1. And they would be giving themselves a chance of being able to get out of the group. 2 difficult games coming up, of course. Galatasaray away, Bayern Munich at home. No guarantees in either of those. Back underway after another hiatus here. And the ball played forward by Yellow. Wan-Bissaka did well to read it, gets it away from Achuri. Rashford going backwards, but safely. Lays it back for Varane. His ball forward. Højlund brings it down. I didn't fancy a sweeping first touch to knock it infield for Fernandes. Back to Wan-Bissaka under a little bit of pressure. Varane's control was poor from a ball that was really pinged at him. Achuri chipping it inside the area. Maguire heads it away easily. Back it comes towards Felt, but he's lost it. And Bruno Fernandes gets it forward. 3 against 2 for United. Højlund in space in the middle. Taps it in again. It's 2. The broadest grin in Copenhagen on the face of Rasmus Højlund. Back at the ground where he made his name, and he's making a huge impression tonight. Copenhagen 0, Manchester United 2.
Well, do you know what? The game at Old Trafford, when United scored, and maybe even a little bit before that, the counter-attack, they were really dangerous and created 4 or 5 opportunities. And I think this first goal tonight was very important as early as it came, because at some point Copenhagen have to try and step it up. But United are so quick and so good on the counter-attack. It's very well read from Bruno Fernandes, who brings the ball to about the halfway line, gives it to Garnacho, who I wonder whether he'd try and play in Rasmus Højlund. He didn't, he shot, but what he did do, he shot across the goal, which is what you're always taught. And just in case the goalkeeper doesn't get hold of it, which he didn't, and I actually think it wasn't the best of shots, and the keeper should have done a lot better than what he did. But still, Rasmus Højlund in the right place, always aim for the far post, and then if it comes out, it's a simple tap-in. That, even easier than the first. The hat-trick is on, the win is very much on. And I was going to say, Jim, you know, with Galatasaray away and Bayern Munich as well, they have to win this evening.
Manchester United 2 up, And Arsenal are 1-up, Alex Crook.
They are indeed. Half an hour gone. Arsenal 1, Sevilla 0. Leandro Trossard has just tapped in his 5th goal of the season. Sevilla caught in possession deep inside their own half. It was played forward to Bukayo Saka, who selflessly laid it back for Trossard. He simply couldn't miss from point-blank range. It is Arsenal 1, Sevilla 0.
And it could have been a Højlund hat-trick and 3-0 to United. Again, possession turned over so easily. He had a snapshot from 15 yards with his left foot, and it was tipped over the bar by Grabara. United with the corner, and Maguire with a header, which Grabara saves, diving to his right-hand side at the second attempt. Copenhagen 0, Manchester United 2. United all over them.
Well, this is incredible, isn't it? It's just been such a very commanding performance of Manchester United when they're very much under pressure, and the manager's under pressure as well. It's exactly what he would have wanted from the start, dictating the tempo, getting that early goal. They've got the second goal now. It's a massive cushion, and Højlund could have got the hat-trick, we say within half an hour, Jim, but in terms of minutes played, probably within 20 minutes.
Real Madrid a goal up against Sporting Braga. Brahim Diaz with that for Real. Jude Bellingham on the bench tonight, carrying an injury. And speculations we were hearing from Alex Crook earlier with the Spanish journalist at Arsenal suggesting that whilst Jude will join up with England, he may well not play any part in the 2 games that are coming up. We've got them live for you on Talksport against Malta a week Friday, and then in Skopje against North Macedonia on Monday the 20th. Both of those games live on Talksport. But Real Madrid without Jude in the starting lineup tonight. Lee with Brahim Diaz. That will be enough for them to go through. They qualify tonight from that group if they avoid defeat. Leading Sporting Braga 1-0, Napoli 1, Union Berlin 1 was the result in the other game in that group. Manchester United 2 up in this one, still 0-0 between Bayern and Galatasaray. Bayern going into that with 12 wins in 15, Galatasaray with 14 wins in 16, still 0-0 there. Arsenal a goal up, as we heard from Alex, with Leandro Trossard the man on target. Is Yellet for Copenhagen in the all-white kit. Spray it out towards the far side for Ankersen, the veteran fullback. And then played forward by Vavro. It was Vavro's poor header through the midfield that gave United that chance on the counter-attack for the 2-0 goal. Just headed it straight down for Bruno Fernandes, and as soon as he'd lost possession, they were always up against it. Here's Maguire, backpedaling, take it down towards his own corner flag, flicks it forward for Dalot. Dalot back for Onana. Time to take a touch out towards Maguire. Maguire with a little bit of fancy down football in a dangerous area. Copenhagen whip it in, but can't find El Yunusi. And it's clear now to play for a Copenhagen throw. And it's all come after Harry Maguire overplayed. El Yunusi trying to flick it on. The Churi couldn't turn it around the corner as he wanted. Sevilla get another throw.
Yeah, I wouldn't just blame Harry Maguire for that. Little flick in your own third you shouldn't be doing. But he was put under pressure, and complacency is the only way now that Manchester United will not come away with all 3 points. They've dominated the early part of this game. They're 2-0 up. Now they've got to make sure they keep the accelerator down to the bottom as well, and make sure they get a third. You know, if I'm Rasmus Højlund now, I'm thinking I'm getting a hat-trick out of tonight. I've got plenty of time to do it.
At least 2. The ball played forward by Felk with the ponytail down towards the corner flag. Achuri was a sliding challenge, came in on him that the crowd didn't like. And then Bruno Fernandes at the second attempt buys a throw off Felk. Just flicks it forward into the Danish midfielder. And it goes out of play for a throw, which will be taken in the Manchester United right back position. Half-time in Paisley in the Premiership, St Mirren 0, Hibs 1. And this is Copenhagen 0, Manchester United 2. It was Marcus Allback that scored the only goal. The last time United played on this ground, they lost that by a goal to 0. Got revenge against Copenhagen in Cologne in the quarterfinals of the Europa League in 2020 with a Bruno Fernandes penalty. They're playing well tonight. Good value for the 2-0 lead. Diogo Gonçalves, though. Right-footed ball inside the box. Sliced away by Dalot, who came a long way to meet it. And the curve on the ball will take it down towards the opposite corner flag. I think it probably went out of play for a throw rather than a corner, but it's a chance for Copenhagen on their left flank, deep inside Manchester United territory. Yeller, the small, fair-haired fullback with a very muddied shirt, comes forward, spins the ball on his right hand, preparing to take the throw. Lays it back for Dix. Kevin Dix, the Dutchman, with a poor disciplinary record, finding Favreau. Ankerson with the ball in. Eriksen's control not particularly clean. Got it away though, edge of the penalty area. Bruno Fernandes will now be able to bring it further away. Trying to take on Felt. Heads it on. Rashford couldn't control it. Copenhagen win it back. McTominay sticking his foot in. Couldn't come away with the ball. Here's Klaassen, Swedish international striker. Back for Felt. Felt flicked forward for Diogo Gonçalves. Right in the challenge of Bruno Fernandes. He turns away from him. Now feeds Yellett. Yellett running towards the edge of the penalty area for Copenhagen. But sure, he's got it. Level with the edge of the United box. Pulled back for Diogo. High right-footed crossfield ball. Headed back in from Ankerson. Well, more up than effectively inside the penalty area. Half cleared by United. Yellett recycling it. Goes back for the centre-half Dix. Now out towards Favreau. Back for Kevin Dix again. 10 minutes to go to half-time, but a stack of time to be added on. So probably 18, 19 minutes of playing time left yet. Copenhagen 0, Manchester United 2, and Højlund's brace, the difference between the two. And looking at the stats, here's Scott, 5 shots to 1 in Manchester United's favour, and they've all been on target so far. Appeals for a free kick waved away. Run from the back. Maguire just stood firm, stopped Larea getting on the end of the ball, and United have defended very well and have been clinical when they've needed to be at the other end.
Yes, they have, and Rasmus Højlund had 2 goals, 3 attempts. All 3 have been on target. Very good save, otherwise it would have been his hat-trick. Yeah, defensively, this is what you want now from the manager's point of view, and also from, a goalkeeper and defending point of view as well. There's nothing better than just keeping a clean sheet when you've scored a couple of early goals and trying to make sure that you dictate the tempo of the game, that you're not under pressure. The way they've quietened the crowd, the way they've scored the goals, the way they've showed different goals to break Copenhagen down with the first one and then the counter-attack on the second. This is the Manchester United performance we expect in Europe, not the one at Old Trafford against Copenhagen.
Now Felt for Diogo Gonçalves. So many football adages about a 2-0 lead and this, that and the other, but
give me a 2-0 lead every day of the week, Jim.
Oh, you'd much rather be 2-0 up than 2-0 down. Copenhagen caught offside. Ashuri was just a little bit too eager to make his way forward down the left-hand side. But, it is a truism that if Copenhagen were to score the next goal, it does change the game largely.
Absolutely. It will change completely the complexion of the game, and not just on the pitch, but off it. The fans, they're trying to make themselves as loud as possible, but they know their team is being outclassed at the moment. But if the team give them something, if they can score a goal just before or just after half-time, then suddenly, there's no doubt about it, the psychology of the game changes.
The replay showed that Ashuri actually had timed his run very well last time. It shouldn't have been a free kick, but United take it. And they've got it at the back with Eriksen, just driving it through the midfield. Bruno Fernandes controlling it on his chest, then hitting it on the turn, down towards Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka towards Rashford. Rashford coming in off the right flank. Wan-Bissaka makes a run ahead of him. Rashford slows down and turns it through the midfield towards Eriksen. And Eriksen will just saunter forward. Played into the feet of Højlund. Back for Eriksen. Space for Wan-Bissaka. Forward away, Matt, in the penalty area. Gets to the byline, drives it in, hits the defender, goes out of play. For a United throw, Scott.
Get it in first time. You've taken the touch, then just whip it in. By coming back inside and then outside again, you've given the defenders not just 1 but 2 to close you down. And again, we talked about Højlund and why hasn't he scored goals in the Premier League. It's because the balls haven't been played early. That was one of those examples.
Wan-Bissaka plays it back for Varane. And scored goals in the Premier League, but he's got 5 in 4 in the Champions League for United this season after his 2 so far tonight. Here's Rashford, right-footed ball inside the area, looking for Højlund, headed down by Favreau into the ground and swept clear by the left-back Yellett. Awkward bounce of the ball made it difficult for Varane. He just leant over Klaassen, and McTominay will work it all the way back for his goalkeeper. Let's go back to Arsenal, leading the last time we heard from Alex Krug.
Pretty comfortable. Arsenal 1, Sevilla 0. Leandro Trossard with the only goal just before the half-hour mark. It's been all one-way traffic. Arsenal 74% possession. Not sure David Raya has touched the ball yet. Arsenal 1, Sevilla 0.
Well, they settled for that. Arsenal leading, courtesy of a goal to nil, and they go through tonight if they win and Lens win in Eindhoven. But PSV lead Lens by a goal to nil in the other game in that group. PSV, who, as I mentioned earlier, got a 100% record domestically this season, but in the Champions League they haven't won a game so far. 2 draws and that defeat against Arsenal. But they lead tonight. Arsenal don't want them to win tonight. The ball will be brought forward by Yellett. Yellett going back behind square for Rasmus Felk. Felk exchanging passes with the dark-haired thick centre-half Diggs down towards Achuri. Achuri trying to take on Wan-Bissaka. Rashford coming back, doubling up. Tag teaming. They've just about been able to get it away. Achuri has gone down, injured outside the penalty area. Garnacho with a sublime touch. Great run coming in off the left flank. Back for Bruno Fernandes. Hoyland taking it on. Edge of the area. Gets a shot in. And it bobbles only narrowly wide.
Well, again, United showing how good they can be on the counter-attack. But first of all, I'd like to just mention Marcus Rashford. The fact that he helped out Wan-Bissaka there and doubled up. Haven't seen enough of that this season, whether it be a United or an England shirt. And then from then, they were able to counter really, really quickly. Hoyland again showing his pace. Defender just about keeping up with him, or at least getting him a little bit wider. So therefore, he wasn't right in front of goal. 17 yards out, inside the box, and he scuffs the shot in the end. He'll be disappointed with that finish, but it just goes to show how good United can be on the transition.
And just bobbled from his left foot wide of Grabara's right-hand post. Now the VAR is having a look at the challenge from Rashford on Yellett, which left the fullback on the ground, and is deeming it a potential red card check. Now Rashford was trying to play the ball, but his studs came down on the side of the foot from Yellett, which was planted at the time, and the length of the VAR check suggests that they feel he's got a case to answer.
Well, I've got to see a replay of it, Jim, because I've got to be honest with you, I didn't see anything in real time. And, you know, it was him coming back first of all. He helped out, he won the ball. And what he's trying to do is he's put his left foot to try and get his body between the defender and the ball. For me, listen, there's no intent in that. It can look dangerous, and it's one of those, again, if you get a still shot, that would look very naughty, but that doesn't show you the context of the tackle and of what he was trying to do. Well, and that referee's been asked to go and have a look at it.
Yeah, and that often suggests that the on-field decision is going to be overturned. Now, the on-field decision was no foul, and the first thing that the referee sees, the Lithuanian Donatas Rumsas, is the still.
Absolutely.
And it looks horrendous. The still looks shocking.
Of course it does. It's going to. You find the worst bit first, it's going to look worse. But this is where you have to understand what Marcus Rashford was trying to do. He was trying to get his leg in between the defender and the ball. There's no way that he's come out. But obviously the referee can look at it, or VAR can look at it on a still and say that looks horrendous. But I don't want to say any football person, because people might disagree with me. But for me, that is not a red card. I've got a bad feeling for him, though.
Yeah, he's going to be sent off. Only the second red card of his career. Rashford is dismissed. Erik ten Hag is incandescent. Rashford is back in the changing room.
I'm sorry, Jim. That, for me, and again, it's only my personal opinion, that is the officials not understanding footballers and what they're trying to do. They're not understanding the game. That wasn't a high challenge where you're trying to get the ball off someone and make a tackle. He's trying to protect the ball between himself and people might between himself and the player. People might turn around and say, well, he shouldn't do that, but it's what happens all the time in a game. And again, we talk about intent. There's no intent there, but if you look at a still of it, it was always going to look bad. For me, that's the officials not understanding the game.
Well, there is no intent. You can tell there's no intent because he's not looking at where he's planted his foot. He's looking at the ball.
It's typical forward play. You know you've got a defender coming in, the ball's there, so you try and get yourself between the ball and the defender. Yes, he's caught him, yes, it looked very painful, and yes, in a still, it looks horrendous, but the still doesn't show exactly the context of what he was doing. And again, I'll go back to the fact of the officials there do not understand the game.
There's a Polish VAR tonight, Tomasz Kwiatkowski, who told the Lithuanian referee to have a look, and they've decided that Rashford should go. In comes the free kick. Oh, it's flicked onto the bar, and United survive. And it could have been 2-1. Now the ball comes back in, and Onana claims it. Free kick was driven in low and hard, took a flick on the edge of the six, cleared everybody, cannons back off the crossbar, and United's 2-goal lead stays intact. It would have been a Bruno Fernandes own goal.
It would have been. What you would say is fair play to him for trying to get something on it. It didn't go in the back of the net. But you talk about the change of psychology in 2-1. Imagine if Marcus Rashford gets sent off, which has happened, and then there's a goal there. Boy, does that change things.
So the 10 men of Manchester United making their way forward, looking for Højlund. And the referee has spotted a handball and has given a free kick Copenhagen's way. So we've got a minute to go to half-time. I now reckon there's going to be at least 10 added because the VAR check will have elongated this first half yet further. Rashford's only previous red card in his career came at Burnley 10 minutes after he came off the bench in a game early in the 18-19 season. United actually won that by 2-0 away from home. They lead by 2-0 away from home today, but Rashford's been dismissed. High ball inside the penalty area. Diogo Gonçalves, and it's tapped in. Copenhagen pull one back. Moyel Yunusi from close range. Deep ball in, swept back to him. El Yunusi taps it in. And United's lead is cut from 2-1. And they're a man down. The whole complexion changes in the space of 3 minutes.
Absolutely. It nearly happened with a free kick after Marcus Rashford got sent off. It certainly happened now, and 13 minutes there will be in terms of injury time. But the ball's down the right. It's too easy to allow the cross in. It's a really good pass back, and again, fair play to El Yunusi. He's sort of stood still as the defenders have gone back towards goal, which gives him that extra yard of space. He hasn't really connected with it perfectly, but he's done it well enough, actually, just to keep it down and give Onana no chance whatsoever. Game on now.
His second Champions League goal, adding to the one that he got at Galatasaray in a 2-2 draw. That was a match in which Copenhagen led 2-0 with 4 minutes to go and only drew. They led on this ground against Bayern with 20 minutes to go and lost. Now they're trying to come back from 2-0 down, but Rashford's dismissal added to that goal from El Yunusi, and all of a sudden United, from a position of utter comfort, find themselves now knowing that they're going to have a long time to hang on. And as Scott said, 13 minutes of added time at the end of this first half. We're in the second of those. It's Copenhagen 1, 10-man Manchester United 2 on Talksport. Some game this now, developing as we didn't anticipate. Here's Bruno Fernandes hooking it back, flicked away before Garnacho could tap it in to make it 3-1.
Wow, that would have been a simple header for Garnacho there, only 6 yards out. That was a crucial touch from the Copenhagen defender.
Yellett will be able to bring it forward, showing no ill effects of the challenge from Rashford, which earned the England man a red card. Bruno Fernandes has petulantly thrown Yellett to the ground. Diogo Gonçalves flicking it in. Yellett has it again. And then Wan-Bissaka wins a free kick. No, he doesn't. Referee says play on. Actually, no complaints from his teammates. A Turing for Copenhagen. Back for Felt. Felt rolling it forward. The edge of the penalty area. Diogo Gonçalves with a shot that hits Varane. Felt shepherds it back for the centre-half Dix from distance. And Onana can watch it wide. In the third minute of stoppage time. 2-1 United lead, but they're down to 10. It's half-time at the Emirates. Here's Talksport's Alex Crook.
And Arsenal on easy street so far. Arsenal 1, Sevilla 0. They should have scored inside a minute. Kai Havertz putting a free header wide from a corner. They did score on 29 minutes. Declan Rice winning it back high up the field. He released Bukayo Saka, and he cut it back for Leandro Trossard to slot home. Arsenal 1, Sevilla 0.
So half-time there. We've still got 10.5 minutes of the first half remaining in this game. Copenhagen 1, 10-man Manchester United 2. Of course, a suspension for Rashford from Europe. He will miss Galatasaray away and Bayern at home, and then United's next European tie that follows this season, whichever competition that ends up being in.
That's a double, quadruple blow, that is. Again, I just feel that's really harsh. I'm not saying it's not foul. Really harsh to send him off there. No intent. I don't believe it was reckless either. He was trying to put his foot there, and the defender then went for the ball. But I'll tell you what, this is a game they have to win, as simple as that. I think the big one is match day 5, but that's assuming they do win this one. Galatasaray away is a big one, and then you've got to hope where Bayern Munich will be through. They maybe play their second string.
Here's Garnacho. Bruno Fernandes for United. Attacking the edge of the penalty area. Felt with a sliding challenge, stopped him. But he's back on the ball, the Portuguese, and Felt ultimately has to come across the side and out of play for a corner, which I think is the first of the night for either side.
That's a good play, actually, from Bruno. Had 3 players around him, but somehow found the space to get inside the box. And, of course, defenders don't want to make that tackle. He did in the end, Falcon. Again, I'm sure United would just, yes, he is, Bruno, just taking his time, doing his shin pads, hoping to run down the clock.
45 plus 4 on the clock. Bruno Fernandes with a right-footed away swinging corner towards the penalty spot. Maguire going up for it, didn't get as far as him, headed away. Dalot. Back towards Garnacho. Garnacho with his low centre of gravity and bustling style tries to get it inside the penalty area. It was eventually crossed in and cleared. And then Achuri out towards the right. Counter-attack could be on. And Nana saw the danger. Not the best clearance from him as he acted as sweeper keeper, but good enough as it turned out. But Scott and I both had a very sharp inhalation of breath there as it looked as though he might have scuffed it to a Copenhagen player on halfway. Just got it past him.
Both of us had a hand on our heads there, didn't we? And I mean, it was good reading, first of all, from Manana, but then you make the clearance. That was a really poor one. It got very lucky. It didn't fall to a Copenhagen player.
Well, the crowd was silenced by Højlund's brace inside the opening half hour. But the decision from the VAR and subsequently the referee to send Rashford off, and the volume has ratcheted up. El Yunusi scoring 3 minutes after Rashford's dismissal. They hit the bar in between times with the Bruno Fernandes header coming back off the frame of his own goal. Copenhagen 1, Manchester United 2. The next 45 minutes won't necessarily make or break United's season, but boy, is it going to be instructive of what might follow. A shot comes in from 35 yards and whistles wide from Favreau, the centre-half. And it goes out of play. Half-time scores are coming in elsewhere around the Champions League. PSV 1, Lens 0. And that's the other game in Arsenal's group, and not the result they want. Bayern Munich 0, Galatasaray 0. Which is the other game in Manchester United's group, as Nana gets to hurry up from the crowd, and a little one from the referee. He's not going to be able to indulge in too much more time wasting before he gets himself booked. Half-time, Real Madrid leading Sporting Braga 1-0. Half-time as well, RB Salzburg 0, Inter Milan 0. They're still playing in that EFL trophy game. Derby now 4-1 up against the Wolves youngsters. Tony Weston adding to that James Collins hat-trick. Copenhagen will bring it forward here with Ankersen. Ankersen inside the United half. Little flick header on. It's brought back down. That hit Maguire's hand, and it's a penalty. That's not one that will be given in the Premier League. In Europe, you see them given all the time. He knew nothing about it. But the referee, having sent Rashford off, has now given Manchester United even more grief. It's a penalty to Copenhagen in the 7th minute of stoppage time. The ball headed on. Maguire comes back. It flicks off Varane. It's then kicked by Diogo Gonçalves into the arm of Maguire, who was 2 feet away. The arm was out. He would argue, I think with some justification, it's in a natural position for where his body would be with players around him. But the ball's hit that arm, and the referee pointed straight to the spot.
That's not going to be turned around, Jim. You know, he may well argue, and I would argue in his behalf, it's not in an unnatural position. That's how his body and his arm naturally went, but it was outside the silhouette. It wasn't above his shoulder, but it was out enough for the referee to give that penalty, and he couldn't have given quick enough, could he? It's absolutely desperate, it looked like, for him to give the penalty, and he's just said now VAR have agreed with him.
And that was what the second subsequent cheer was for. And it means that United have conceded a penalty in every group game in this Champions League campaign so far. First one was a goal, second one was missed, third one was saved. Jordan Larsen by Andre Onana with the last kick of the game at Old Trafford between these two a fortnight ago. So this one will be taken by Diogo Gonçalves in the 9th minute of stoppage time in the first half to tie it up at 2-2. With 42 minutes on the clock, Manchester United were 2 up and coasting. This goes in, it's 2-2, and United are a man down as well. Diogo Gonçalves will hit this right-footed. There's almost a hush around the park and stadium. Right-footed past Onana and in. It has unravelled astonishingly quickly. But Manchester United will point to decisions rather than defensive errors as being the cause for that. Copenhagen 2, 10-man Manchester United 2.
Well, up to the point of Marcus Rashford being sent off, I can't remember the last time I've seen a team, especially away from home, and definitely in Europe, in such control. Suddenly Rashford being sent off, 2-1, and then you're thinking just get to half-time and keep it at that, where maybe Ten Hag can turn things around if he wants to. And unfortunately for Manchester United, Onana wasn't able to make a save like he did at Old Trafford. Boy, you know, that 2-0 scoreline, Jim, can be turned around very, very quickly. And now, going into half-time, with that extra man, Copenhagen will feel that they can get all 3 points here. And you say about their season won't be defined. But if they lose this game, United, and at the moment Galatasaray are drawing in Munich, but even if they lose it, you know, you almost feel that United will have to go to Turkey and get all 3 points. And, well, that's what Galatasaray did to United at Old Trafford. So, massive, massive 45 minutes plus coming up now for United.
And much as they played well for large swathes of this first half, you don't win in Copenhagen, you can't expect to win in Istanbul away to Galatasaray, clearly. Every chance. But nevertheless, that was another game, the first game between those two, where the visitors were second best. No, sorry, the hosts were second best. 2-2. Nobody could possibly have seen that coming about 12 minutes ago. Højlund, Garnacho losing out. All Copenhagen as we approach half-time. We've got 2.5 minutes, a minimum of 2.5 minutes still to play before the break. And that was a foul by Vavro, who's going to get called over here by the referee. Is that going to be a yellow card? It is. First shown tonight. Foul by Vavro on Højlund. And it's a free kick to Manchester United inside the centre circle. 45 plus 11 on the clock, 2-2.
Well, he's scored 2 goals already so far, but I tell you what, his second half performance, he might not score again, is going to be very, very important. You're down to 10 men away from home. You want to be able to get your striker when you're under pressure to, I tell you now, as a fullback, almost just play it up to him, get him to hold it up or run the channels and still try and drag the 2 centre-halves around.
United take the free kick. Varane trying to flick it on. Who got the last touch on that? Everybody claiming that it was the opposition. Bruno Fernandes knew that he was tilting at windmills there. And it's a goal kick which will be taken by Copenhagen's Kamil Grabara. They're in a hurry. They're doing everything they can to try and get as much playing time in this first 45 minutes as they possibly can now. There'll be a little bit of time added on because of the penalty award, the VAR inspection, so it is a minimum of 13. You'd expect that will be extended with the goal celebration as well, probably to 14, so another couple of minutes to be played in this first half, you would imagine.
We'll be here till midnight, Jim.
Every chance. And the ball on the right-hand side of the penalty area. Oh, pulled back past McTominay. Varane's there to be able to just drive it out of play. Ball boy immediately threw another ball towards the fullback Ankerson so he could take a quick throw. He fires it inside the penalty area. It's hit Garnacho, and that's going to bounce out for the first Copenhagen corner of the night.
Do not concede now. Do not concede now as you approach the 13-minute mark. As you say, I think there might be another minute, maybe even 2 on top. But my goodness, do not go in at half-time 1 down and a man down.
In the Scottish Premiership, Mark O'Hara from the spot for St Mirren. 4th of the season for him. St Mirren 1, Hibs 1. In comes this corner, a right-footed away, swinging towards the penalty spot. Over Vavro, headed away by Maguire. And the 10 then push out of the penalty area. Only Onana back in there. United doing everything they can to hold a high line. It's 2-2. We played the prescribed 13 minutes, and the referee, I think, has decided no more. And Copenhagen not happy about that, and I can understand with Felt making his way forward that they would have felt that there should be at least another 45 seconds, 60 seconds. But the referee's decided that 13 minutes will be enough. 58 minutes of pulsating drama. 4 goals, a red card, but it was that red card controversially administered to Marcus Rashford 3 minutes before half-time that has completely changed the game, changed the feel of the night, and possibly of Manchester United's season. Half-time in Denmark, Copenhagen 2, 10-man Manchester United 2.
Well, Monday Night Live on Talksport, I thought I'd seen everything with a game that had everything in Spurs 1, Chelsea 4. This one is trying to compete with it. First half that's had everything. It seems to have gone on forever, and there's more to come as well. Scott Minto, let's first of all talk about the red card. I'll tell you what's happened on social media, right? I've had a look, all the reaction to it, and I'll give you some quotes. Random people on social media say, ridiculously harsh red, could have broken his leg, stupid challenge, reckless, no intent, horrible tackle. So a random selection, mixed reaction to it. Well, the Rashford ban, by the way, it's definitely going to be a one-game ban. He will miss the Galatasaray game unless United appeal and it's overturned, which it won't be. It may be increased by UEFA to a 2-match ban, so he could miss the Bayern Munich game, the last game in the group. And that might seem significant because Bayern Munich might be through by then, will be through by then, might play a weakened side. But all that's to come. He definitely misses Galatasaray. Listen, I've had a look at the laws as well, Scott. It says a tackle or a challenge that endangers the safety of an opponent or creates a risk of serious injury. Let me give you my view on it, and then you can react, okay? Rashford is shielding the ball. I get what you're saying there. He's shielding the ball. That's what footballers do. However, what he does by trying to shield the ball is he thrusts his left leg out at an abnormal angle. It's not the normal angle that he would be running in, okay? So he thrusts it out to the left, and it then lands on the opponent's ankle, and it bends the foot sideways. For all the world, it looks like an ankle breaker to me. That, to me, is endangering an opponent. That's creating a risk of a serious injury. So that's why I think he had to go.
Abnormal? Well, it could look at it. And in terms of the running aid, well, he wasn't running. He was trying to protect the ball. I understand what you're saying, and clearly the officials will go down that line. It's not going to be overturned, I can tell you that now, but I'd be very surprised if it's extended even more than that. I'm telling you from a footballer's point of view exactly what the striker is trying to do. He's trying to protect the ball. He's not running with it. The defender's coming in. Again, I'd be that left back coming in, and I'd understand exactly what he was trying to do. I'm not saying it's not a foul. It may even could be a yellow card, but he's just trying to protect the ball. And personally speaking, I don't believe at all that you can look at it whichever way you want to look at it. I'm looking at it from Marcus Rashford's point of view. What he's trying to do is try to put his foot in between the player and the ball, and he's accidentally and very unfortunately caught him. And from a still, it was always going to look bad. But not a red card for me, and it's completely changed the psychology of this game.
It's going to be a huge talking point on the sports bar tonight when we're done, which probably will be shortly after 10 o'clock, given how long this game in Copenhagen is going on for. Marcus Rashford, 1 goal this season, 1 red card this season. Before that, though, United were very much on top. I love the fact, Scott Minto, Rasmus Højlund celebrated both goals, even though he was back home.
Well, that's you, Wade. I know you'd be doing that all day long as well if you played at Peterborough. But no, look, why not? You know, there's a lot of pressure on him. There's been a lot of money spent, and we talked pre-match about he hasn't been given the opportunities by his wide players. And I thought it was interesting it was Scott McTominay who actually got into that and whipped it across straight away. It wasn't about him trying to score a goal. It wasn't about him trying to at least get a shot on target. He looked up very unselfishly and saw Højlund in exactly the right place. And I think if the wide players of Manchester United do that a little bit more, you'd be seeing him score more in the Premier League. And the second one as well, I thought, again, it's all about the right place, right time, showing that how good United are on the counter-attack. Bruno Fernandes doing really well. Garnacho, or actually, I thought it's interesting. I didn't mention it in the first half. I was going to mention it with you that, and this happened when Garnacho came on in the game at Old Trafford against Copenhagen. We know Marcus Rashford likes to play on the left, coming in onto his right foot. Well, Garnacho came on in that game, and Rashford went to the right. And Garnacho tonight has started on the left, Rashford on the right. I'm not saying that he's now seen as the number one left wide player, but that's his favourite position as much as Rashford's. Garnacho played there. He got the shot in. The shot wasn't saved properly. It was a really poor attempt, actually, from the goalkeeper. But Højlund, like all good strikers, right place, right time to tap it in for 2. And at that point, they were absolutely cruising.
Yeah, but there was a moment there just after that, seconds after the restart, Højlund's got a great chance. He lashes at it. It's actually a brilliant save from the keeper, and he turns it over the bar. He actually should score, though, Højlund, and that we didn't think at the time that would be crucial. But now that looks like a crucial miss.
No, it probably does. I wouldn't call it a miss. I'd call it a really good save. If he hadn't have hit the target, I'd be saying, that's a really bad miss. He's absolutely leathered that, and he's kept it on target. It's a great save. Now, you could say world-class strikers, when they get into that opportunity, they'll put the ball in the back of the net. But even if you count that one at that particular time, he'd had 3 shots, all on target, and 2 goals. You know, yeah, absolutely. 3-0. They're not coming back from that, Copenhagen, but no one saw what was about to come. And by the way, you nicked my line as well, because I was about to say the Monday was a special game. This is getting there, I'll tell you that, after that first half.
Well, who knows what's coming up in the second half. It's been absolutely captivating live on Talksport. And Manchester United, they had the game that won, and they've got to win it all over again. 2-2 at the break. United were 2 up, Rashford red, and now it's Copenhagen 2, Manchester United 2, live on Talksport. We're already underway in the second half here at the Emirates, where Arsenal lead by 1-0. This is Talksport.
Kick-off on Talksport with Ladbrokes. We play together. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org. Kick-off on Talksport with Ladbrokes. We play together. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Righty here for Gillette. Have I got something for you? The Gillette Labs razor has a unique exfoliating bar that clears the path before the blades for effortless shaving in one stroke, leaving you fresh and ready to take on your day in no time. And at Gillette, we promise you that Gillette Labs is the ultimate shave, or, I've always wanted to say this, your money back. Gillette, the best a man can get. 18 plus, retain receipt, terms and conditions apply.
Why do more broadband switchers choose us? Because EE Broadband is free for 3 months with nothing to pay up front. It's also ultra reliable, and it's powered by BT, keeping home workers working, gamers gaming, and TikTokers ticking. So switch to EE Broadband and get 3 months free than just $35.99 a month. Now that's why more broadband switchers choose us. Search EE Broadband deals now.
Month 4 from $35.99. 24-month contract. Broadband only. New customers. CPI plus 3.9% increase each March. Verified ee.co.uk/claims. Terms apply.
Come on, Katerina. You can handle this heat. One event at a time. Throw together a decent ragu. Jump straight onto the Malaysian curry. Bring it home with the chili. Yeah, I'll bust this batch cook.
Perform better on Sundays. Get half-price electricity, 11 a.m. till 4 p.m. with Peak Save from British Gas. Proud partners of Team GB and Paralympics GB. Ends 31st of December. T's and C's apply. Smart meter required.
Come in. Boss, news from Nationwide.
What are they doing now?
They've just confirmed they're keeping branches open.
Ha ha, what nonsense! Who needs a branch? I don't.
Yes, but...
What I need is happy shareholders. I don't care about happy customers.
Don't worry. Pretty sure Nationwide's customers won't be coming to us.
Unlike the big banks, we're not closing our branches. Nationwide, a good way to bank. To view our branch promise, search nationwide.co.uk/our promise.
Introducing the new Philly cheese stack at McDonald's with 2 beef patties.
Oh, yeah.
Crispy and grilled onions.
So crispy.
Cheddar cheese.
Oh, cheese.
All topped with a melted cheddar cheese sauce.
Obsessed.
The Philly cheese stack, one for the cheese lovers. Available until the 21st of November. Served after 11 a.m. Participating restaurants only. Subject to availability.
Do you belong here? Next to me on an anti-poaching operation. 2 days drive from anywhere. What's your gut saying? Want to change your radio station?
Flurries will in sport this week.
Or jump in and keep us company. Still listening? You belong here. Army. Recruiting now. Search Army jobs.
Passion, heartbreak, glory, despair, triumph.
And they're back in the game.
The Champions League live.
What a finish.
On Talksport.
So second halves in the Champions League are underway apart from our commentary game. Copenhagen 2, Manchester United 2. So let's get the half-time odds with Ladbrokes.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. We play together. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
And Copenhagen are now 6-5 to win. The draw is 31-20. United to win are now 13-4. And Rasmus Højlund to complete his hat-trick was 11-4. That's been boosted now to 3-1. That's the latest odds with Ladbrokes. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org. Gambleware.org.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. We play together. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
I've got more European commentary for you tomorrow. Liverpool in Toulouse ahead of their Europa League group match. It's live on Talksport 2. Kicks off at 5:45. And ahead of the game, Jurgen Klopp has told the media he's expecting a tough match and a hostile atmosphere.
Toulouse especially, I really think it's they caused us problems until we understood a little bit more about how the way they played. But you are right, the supporters were exceptional. I think they enjoyed their time at Anfield, rightly so. And I'm excited about tomorrow. I can imagine there will be a proper atmosphere. We're really looking forward to it, and we respect a lot what Toulouse is doing. I know there's result-wise not in the best moment, probably, but how I said before the first game against Toulouse, a really good idea of football, brave, good organized, and very flexible. So we have to be ready. We have to play a good game. If we do that, we are not easy to play. We know that. If we don't do that, we will have problems.
Jurgen Klopp with a Europa League game live on Talksport tomorrow away to Toulouse. Alex Cook will be on commentary for that one, and we're here in the second half at the Emirates. Arsenal leading Sevilla by a goal to nil. We're kind of waiting for Sevilla to turn up in this game. There was one breakaway they had, and it was very direct, a long ball flicked on, and all of a sudden they're clean through. But William Saliba showed exactly why the Arsenal fans love him.
Yeah, it was a brilliant tackle from Saliba, not only to get goal side in the end of the Sevilla forward, but also to prod it back to his goalkeeper, David Raya. Pretty much Raya's only meaningful contribution in that first half. We played 8 minutes in the second. It's still Arsenal 1, Sevilla 0. Leandro Trossard with the goal on 29 minutes, his second in this season's Champions League. They've made a change at half-time. Zinchenko has come on for Tomiyasu. Kai Havertz had a golden opportunity right at the start of the first half. He had a decent chance at the start of the second as well. Bukayo Saka, as Arsenal found themselves 4 against 3, switched the play beautifully, picked out Havertz. He just took too long to make his mind up if he was going to pass or shoot. And there was Wanlu, the fullback, who's had a torrid evening, it has to be set up against Martinelli. Managed to turn the ball behind for a corner. 9 minutes gone in the second half. Arsenal ahead here, but PSV leading Lens, so they won't qualify tonight. But listen, this is a giant step towards the knockout stages. Arsenal 1, Sevilla 0.
Well, it's not just that side. Martinelli doing the damage. Saka, he's trying to end Pedrosa's career. PK Salas doubling up on him. He just wants to stay away from Saka so he doesn't get embarrassed and humiliated. I've got to say, I'm a big fan of Bukayo Saka. Love watching him play. And tonight is one of those nights where he is ruining opponents. But you do fear for him because he's getting so much physical treatment from the opponents because it's all they can do to stop him.
And that's been going on for a long time. I remember speaking to Bukayo Saka after a game during lockdown at Villa Park when he bemoaned to me live on Talksport about the fact that he wasn't getting enough protection from Premier League referees. I'd suggest, based on what we've seen tonight, he gets even less protection from referees in the Champions League.
Well, Goodell is a centre-back he's the one who got the header in the game in Spain, and he went clattering into him twice in the first 10 minutes. The first one, the referee can let him get away with. The second one, it has to be a booking, otherwise he's just going to keep on doing it.
Yeah, I'm surprised that the referee hasn't gone to his notebook yet. We're yet to see a yellow card, and they have been very physical, Sevilla, overly physical at times, right from the off, as Kai Havertz again comes close to finally scoring that first Arsenal goal from open play. He picked up the ball down the right-hand side, cut in his left foot and curled it just wide of the far post. He looks frustratedly to the heavens. It just doesn't look like it's going to happen for Kai Havertz, does it?
No, it was a terrible attempt at a header when he was clean, he was free on the far post really early in the game. Dreadful, just when he needed to score, he just couldn't manage it. Half times, well, we're into the second half. In Group A, Bayern Munich still goalless with Galatasaray. Group B, here it's Arsenal 1-up. PSV are 1-up against Lens, means Arsenal won't quite qualify tonight. Group C, Real Madrid lead Braga 1-0. Brahim Diaz in for Bellingham with the goal. And Salzburg 0, Inter Milan 0 in Group D, where Real Sociedad qualified for the knockout stages earlier today. In Scotland, Joe Newell has just put Hibs 2-1 up at St Mirren, who are in third place. Hibs without a win in 6, but they're coming out for the second half at the Parkin Stadium. What a first half we had. United were 2-up, had Rashford sent off. It's now 2-2. Here's the second half on Talksport with Scott Minto and Jim Proudfoot.
So a couple of talking points ahead of the start of the second half, Scott. Firstly, what do Manchester United want out of tonight realistically? Before the game started, we were saying this is a must-win game. Is it still a must-win game with the situation as it is, that they've got 45 minutes to play with 10 men, having conceded twice since they've gone down to 10 men? Is a draw now a good enough result for them at the group at large?
It's a must-not-lose game now. I think that's what it is. And obviously, if they can try and somehow nick a winner, then great. But when you're down to 10 men away from home, and you know that the crowd and the players, we talked about it, even when they were 2-0 up, Manchester United, what could happen at 2-1? Now it's 2-2, and they've got an extra man, Copenhagen. You make yourself solid. I mean, what I would say is you don't do an Ange Postecoglou. I don't think Copenhagen need to sort of try and instill a philosophy. They themselves need to sort of go for it. But in terms of United, yeah, absolutely. There's no way that Ten Hag should be sort of going all out for the win here. What they want to do is keep it solid, try and again start, even though you've got a man down, start the second half in the way you started the first. Just try and get the tempo of the game to how you need it. But I'm telling you now, this is going to be very, very difficult, because when you're down to 10 men for so long, physically you're going to be tired. But Ten Hag will have to make changes at some point in that second half, I'm sure.
Well, he's going to make one now, and we're going to see Sofian Amrabat come on at the start of this second half. Don't know as yet who hasn't reappeared. It may well be Eriksson looking around. It is Amrabat for Eriksson. You can certainly see the thinking. Is it something you'd have done?
No, I personally no. I think Eriksson is one of those, when you are down to 10 men, when you have the ball, you need to keep it. And he's very, very good on the ball, obviously. And I think Amrabat, I like him as a player, I really do. He talked about, the World Cup he had, and I mentioned played a massive part for Fiorentina getting to 2 finals. But I don't think his United career started brilliantly. So in terms of that, I am surprised. You want your ball players on there who can keep the ball.
Well, we're back underway. Manchester United kick from right to left. Red shirts, black shorts and socks. And Copenhagen in all white. Defending the end away to our left-hand side. Manchester United defending parity. Parity in terms of the scoreline, if not personnel. An extraordinary first 45 minutes. What a week of live football we've had for you here on Talksport. The belting game on Monday night. Spurs won, Chelsea 4, 5 goals disallowed by VAR, 2 red cards tonight, 4 goals and a red card. And probably worth bearing in mind, something we didn't talk about, Højlund very nearly scored after the Rashford foul before he got sent off. So it could have been that United for a moment thought they were 3-0 up and then found they were 2-0 up and a man down. It didn't quite happen like that because Rashford's effort Højlund's effort went wide. And Nana's got the ball. United doing everything they can just to keep possession with the 10 men at the start of this second half. Here with Talksport, it's 2-2. It's been brilliant. Here's Amrabat. And he's got to halfway. They played 14 minutes of the second half at Arsenal, and it's still 1-0. Manchester United in possession of the back. Varane goes to his left for Maguire. Maguire just calming things down. This is how Manchester United started the first half. Just playing at a slow tempo, trying to invite Copenhagen onto them to play through the press.
Yeah, this is what I was saying that they have to try and do. Difficult to do that when you're a man down, but still try and keep the ball options open. The players are going to have to run just that little bit more. Can't carry anybody when you're a man down. And sometimes when you've got the 11 men and you're against 10, you think, okay, we've got that advantage now, and you just slack off a little bit, and it only takes 3 or 4 of the players to slack off a few percent, and suddenly it can be sometimes 10v10. So sharpen the minds, United. Try and again dictate the tempo of the game, which is exactly what they're doing now in the second half. And again, I suppose it doesn't really change in terms of the transition. Yes, Marcus Rashford's off, we'd be very good at that, but they've still got Garnacho, they've still got Højlund. Watch for that ball over the top or that quick counter-attack. That's where they can get that possible winner.
Well, appeals for handball as Amrabat rifles the ball through the centre circle, and it hit the nearest Copenhagen player. It was Klaassen. And the free kick is given against him for handball, and the arm was clearly in a natural position there, but the officials being consistent. I think, having seen replays again, the Harry Maguire penalty was more understandable than the Rashford red card, and I can see where people are coming from in terms of that red card for Rashford, because the still, as we mentioned at the time, looks horrific. It looks as though he's planted his foot. He's not looking at the opponent at all. It is clearly an accident, although intent isn't part of the law. I appreciate that, but it was no way he was trying to make a tackle. He's just putting his foot down, and Yellett happened to get his foot underneath it.
For me, Jim, it's not all about the law of the game. Yes, that plays the major part of it, but it's an understanding of what he's trying to do. There was no intent. There was a very unfortunate outcome, but that's what it was, an unfortunate outcome to what he was trying to do and protect the ball, not try and make a bad tackle at pace.
Real Madrid 3, Sporting Braga 0. They got a couple in 3 minutes around the hour mark. Vinicius and Rodrigo scoring those goals. Real Madrid 3, Braga 0, and they are going to be going through. Only need a draw tonight. Man United in possession, and Wan-Bissaka brings it forward over the halfway line. It's Copenhagen 2, United 2 on Talksport. United down to 10 men after Rashford's dismissal, the second of his career. Maguire inside the centre circle, clipping one out towards the United right for Wan-Bissaka. Bruno Fernandes, who's playing on the right-hand side of a midfield 4 and a 4-4-1-1 now, just working it back through the midfield. Dallow's taken up a very advanced position from left back at the moment, almost playing as an inside forward in this passage of play. Now it's worked into the feet of Amrabat. McTominay dropping back into Dallow's position. Maguire lofts an aerial ball way over Wan-Bissaka's head and into the Copenhagen crowd. They're in almost all white themselves, like their team tonight. 5 minutes into the second half, and it's all about little steps. United have got through the first 5 minutes of the second half without Copenhagen even having a smell of their goal.
Absolutely, and you're right to mention that Darlow went into midfield. It's McTominay who dropped it into left back. I personally don't get that. If you're looking to get an extra man in midfield, fine. But you've now got a central midfielder playing left back and a left back playing central midfield.
Here's a Shuri. Right-footed ball in from Lerea. Knocked away on the edge of the penalty area. Amrabat on as a half-time sub for Eriksson. Tries to flick it away. Wan-Bissaka can clear it. Bruno Fernandes gets further distance on it, but only as far as the right back Ankerson. And Fernandes has found his man El Yunusi, the scorer of the first Copenhagen goal. And it's a free kick which will be taken on halfway by Copenhagen. We'll be back at Arsenal in a moment. A few changes in personnel happening, I'm led to believe, as Copenhagen are on the front foot, take it down towards the corner flag. Fernandes knocks that away, but in doing so has just presented it to the left back. Yellett back through the midfield. Felt lets it go past him. Diogo Gonçalves out towards the left-hand side of the penalty area. Chance for Yellett to deliver. Here's Felt running towards the edge of the box, into the feet of Klaassen. Back towards Davro, lets fly, saved by Onana, and Arsenal have a second. Alex Crook.
Arsenal 2, Sevilla 0. This is absolutely sumptuous from Bukayo Saka. Martinelli with the pass, releasing Saka in behind the Sevilla defence. He slowed down his run. He turned away from the defender, waited for the goalkeeper to commit, and then rolled the ball into the far corner. 6 for the season for Arsenal's star boy. It is Arsenal 2, Sevilla 0.
Yeah, it's a goal that makes him the outright leading scorer for the Gunners over the course of this season. Remember, Arsenal qualify if they win tonight and Lens win, but the French side still a goal down in Eindhoven. Here's Garnacho making his way forward for United with intent towards the edge of the area. Dallow outside him with a shot. Does that hit the post? Comes back out. Dallow again. Amrabat scooped in with the outside of the right boot. Højlund complaining that the ball wasn't delivered for him inside the penalty area. Dallow with a shot towards the near post. Either hit the post or came back off the arm of the goalkeeper. That's United's best moment since they went down to 10. Here's Ashuri at the other end for Copenhagen. Ball swept high inside the penalty area. Headed back down, but Onana can comfortably catch it from Klaassen's header. And we're 8 minutes into the second period. It's still 2-2.
Well, this could get really end-to-end. The second half could get as exciting as the first. There's no doubt about it. Copenhagen will look to try and win this game. But to be fair to United, they've started the second half really, really well. And yet Darlow was pushing forward there, and I wonder whether it hit the chest of Grabara, the goalkeeper, and bounced back out as well. But United look like, you talk about the mentality of what they're wanting in the second half. It looks like they're trying to get the win here.
Here's Wan-Bissaka. Still 0-0 between Bayern and Galatasaray in Bavaria. This one 2-2. So it's as you were in the group, really, in terms of the difference between the sides in points. Bayern 10, Galatasaray 5, United 4, Copenhagen 2. That's how the table in this group stands right now. Arsenal leading Sevilla by 2-0. They would have 9, Lens 5, PSV 5, Sevilla 2. That's how that group is right now. Varane's got it for Manchester United. Finding Maguire. Varane came on as a first half substitute for the injured Evans. Wan-Bissaka at right back, forced away by Achuri. United lining up Onana in goal. Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Maguire and Dalot. Then in midfield it's Bruno Fernandes on the right, Garnacho on the left, McTominay in the midfield alongside Amrabat, and Højlund playing up front in a 4-4-1 after Rashford's dismissal. There's Wan-Bissaka. Ball skidding through the centre of midfield for Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire with a long one down towards the left-hand side, headed on. Garnacho's ball just rolls away from Dalot. Favreau trying to whip up the crowd. So the ball goes out of play for a goal kick. 10 minutes into the second half at 2-2. So much to get your teeth into on the sports bar tonight. What you thought of the red card. What you thought of the penalty decision against Harry Maguire. Was it a much improved Manchester United performance in your eyes when it was 11 against 11? All that and much, much more. 03717 22 33 44. Lines are open now to get you through to the sports bar, which will follow the conclusion of this game. We had 13 minutes of stoppage time in the first half, so it's not going to be ending before 10. The ball is with Favreau, and Copenhagen on the front foot again.
I think Jason Jamie can put the feet up to about 11 the way this is going.
Yeah, but they get paid by the minute. All bad news for them. Invoice getting smaller as we speak. Felk making his way towards the edge of the penalty area for Copenhagen. Klaassen working it round the corner, and good defending by Garnacho, just protecting the space. Ankerson trying to play the ball, couldn't. Collided with Garnacho, ball over the line, out of play. Goal kick to Manchester United. It's 2-2.
Yeah, he's going to have to do that for the rest of this evening, isn't it? I mean, it's really interesting, actually. Without the ball, they're like a 4-4-1. With the ball, Darlow's almost playing ahead of Garnacho, and it's almost with a 3. Bruno on one side, holding down the middle, and then Darlow playing almost like a left winger or inside forward.
Well, Onana, I thought, was just about to incur a yellow card, but the refs had a word with no more than that. United have given it away, playing it out from the back. Dalot, he's survived it. United clear upfield from behind him. The ref going and having a word with Onana, who made the point that I've just been handed the ball pretty slowly by one of the Copenhagen ball boys. What do you want me to do? I can't go and get it myself, or that would just waste more time.
Yeah, they do need to be careful though. Quite clearly United want to slow down the game as much as possible, but the referee will know that's the case. He could probably get away with a yellow card. Other players just need to be careful as well.
Favreau to Dix. Copenhagen well inside United territory again. United getting the bodies back, keeping the spaces between the lines as condensed as possible. Another opportunity for Felk. Felk to the corner of the penalty area. Laid out towards Achuri. High right-footed ball in from Achuri. Dalot just got a push from El Yunusi. The ball went over the pair of them. Goes out of play. It's a goal kick, which will be taken away to the right-hand side by Andre Onana. The night that Arsenal leads Sevilla 2-0. It's Copenhagen 2, Manchester United 2, and still goalless in Bavaria between Bayern and Galatasaray. McTominay helping it forward, getting it back inside the centre circle. Boos and whistles from the Copenhagen supporters every time Manchester United are able to have a spell of sustained possession. Ball back with Maguire. There's a palpable tension. Amrabat just dropping back in, and you touched on it, but when United are in possession, frequently they will go back to a back 3 to try and get Dalot forward, and Amrabat will drop in on the left of Maguire to make an extra centre-half, or he'll split the two centre-halves.
It's very bold. You know, you're down to 10 men away from home, and you want to think you want to get a solid back 4, but no, Darlow is pushing into midfield and sometimes almost into that left inside forward position as well. So if Copenhagen were to win the ball, press Manchester United to win the ball in their own half. There's definitely space for them to exploit. It's a risk and reward, but at the moment, United, they are in control of the tempo of the game.
Favreau inside the centre circle for Copenhagen, down towards the right-hand side. Here's Peter Ankersen in his second spell with the club. He was over in Italy playing in Serie A with Genoa for a bit, but he's nearly 270 games for Copenhagen. Very experienced performer, the 33-year-old. Felk, back to Dix, Favreau, Ankersen again in space on the right. When he gets it, Dalot will shuffle across as quickly as he can to stop him getting a cross in. United have defended in the second half very well so far. Just that one misplaced ball out from the back from Diogo Dalot. They got away with that. I don't think Onana's had a save to make. A difficult one anyway in the second period. They're on the front foot now. Klaassen with a little layoff, and Onana again can easily save a shot from Diogo Gonçalves, just collapsing down to his knees, clutching the ball into his body, and we've played an hour. It's 2-2.
Yeah, it's the first real time they made incisive passing, Copenhagen, and got forward. Nice little layoff, a simple save in the end from Onana. But yeah, I think it's been a really good professional performance here from Manchester United. You know, apart from that sort of crazy bit, what happened since Marcus Rashford got sent off up until half-time, it's been really good. It's been really professional. But obviously, you can't discount what's happened, and that's why I still think even more substitutions are going to be very, very important. United doing really well in terms of controlling the pace of the game, but it's going to be difficult to keep this up because you get the feeling that Copenhagen will step it up themselves in the next sort of 10-15 minutes, if not before.
Yeah, the game there for the taking for them. 2 goals for them in the first half. Once Rashford got sent off on 42, United 2 up at that stage. Rashford dismissed. And then they scored on the 45th minute and the 9th minute of first half stoppage time from the penalty spot after a Maguire handball. United able to bring the ball forward, take it down towards halfway. Felk has done really well, just stops the progress of Garnacho, works it back through the midfield for Diogo Gonçalves, the scorer of that penalty for Copenhagen. Now it goes out to the Copenhagen left. Yellert, right-footed, sweeping it in. El Yunusi headed back, volley towards goal. I think it was a shot from Klaassen which hit his teammate Lerrère. Comes back out for Felk. Felk trying to walk it through. El Yunusi from a tight angle. Really well blocked by Maguire out for a corner.
I'm not sure if it's given offside in the end, but what a tackle that was. Harry Maguire didn't know that. Played inside Darlow, and yes, he's just offside. But he's left his man, Harry Maguire, and it was a very similar position. In fact, even closer to the goal, where Scott McTominay made the assist for 1-0 for Rasmus Højlund. A really dangerous position. The way that Maguire just left his man, realised the danger, made a wonderful diving tackle, which in the end didn't really matter because it was offside. And that will give him confidence.
Rooney's coming on for Copenhagen, their top scorer. The youngster Rooney Bargi is only 17, Swedish under-21 winger, who has scored 7 in his last 12 games. Really has caught the eye, and he's going to be coming on in a moment. We'll also be back at Arsenal in a moment. It's 2-2 in this one. Yeller making his way forward. Very adventurous left-back who's done well. He's only 20, made his international debut last month for Denmark. Felk down towards Ankersen. Ankersen's level with the edge of the United box. It's a right-footed ball swept in by the centre-half Favreau. Wan-Bissaka can head it away out towards the touchline, and it will drift out for a throw that Copenhagen will take. We'll go back to Arsenal. Here's Alex Krug.
15 minutes to play. It's still Arsenal 2, Sevilla nil. Zinchenko almost added a third with a fierce volley that was well saved by the Sevilla goalkeeper. And spare a thought for Boubakary Soumaré, on loan from Leicester, booked within 10 seconds of coming off the bench. Moments later, he hobbled off injured. Arsenal 2, Sevilla nil.
We've all had nights like that. 2-2. El Yunusi is coming off for Copenhagen, and Bargi will replace him. It was El Yunusi that scored the first tonight. The first goal that Copenhagen have scored in their last 9 games with English sides in all competitions. It ended a run of 13 and a quarter hours since a Martin Vingard goal at Manchester City 14 years ago. So Rooney's on, Rooney Bargi. And he is a player with an immensely bright future, hopefully, from a Manchester United perspective, he won't catch the eye too much tonight. Diogo Dalot for Manchester United. He's 5 yards outside their own box. He's knocked it square for Varane. Varane out towards Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka can bring it towards halfway. He's then checked, goes back inside. McTominay, Amrabat showing for the pass, but played back deeper instead for Maguire. Maguire into the feet of Amrabat. Amrabat has given it away. And here is Bargi. Bargi towards the edge of the penalty area. Rooney Bargi, and he skies it into the crowd. But that's what he's all about. Dynamic, direct, but off target that time.
Didn't quite finish like Rooney, did he? But I tell you what, that was good play. Just nipped in there. United cannot afford to give away the ball when they're playing and trying to pass to each other in their own half. That's what Amrabat did. And to be fair to Bargi, he looks confident, doesn't he? Good left foot, coming in off the right. Looks confident to take a shot on from there. In the end, fortunately for United, it was a very poor shot.
No, he's their top scorer this season. He's got 22 appearances as a winger, and as a 17-year-old winger at that. Play stops here. Rasmus Højlund has just ended up wearing a flailing arm, and he's lying on his back with his left hand to his face and indicating with his right elbow that he felt that he got elbowed just underneath the left eye by Vavro. The replay suggests it certainly wasn't the point of the elbow by any stretch of the imagination. It might just have been caught by the inner arm beneath the elbow. Would have hurt nonetheless, but it's a free kick, certainly not a red card offence.
No, I don't think it was a red card, but I tell you what, he did move his arm, and you're right, it was kind of the inside elbow. He did move his arm towards Højlund's face, but you're not going to get a red card there.
Late equaliser in the Premiership tonight. St Mirren 2, Hibs 2. Lewis Jameson scoring his first goal of the season in stoppage time. Still playing. St Mirren 2, Hibs 2. Bruno Fernandes to take this free kick. 2-2 in this one as well. United down to 10 men. Played well in the second half with a numerical disadvantage. Maguire heads the ball down. Big appeals from the United players for a penalty. It was swept clear by Felk. Counter-attack could be on. Varane coming back. So too Amrabat. Amrabat's done well. He's one possession back, and he knocks the ball away. And then Maguire, who gave away a penalty for handball in the first half, screams as he goes past the referee that he felt that was a penalty. We're seeing a replay now. Ball was in deep. Rooney with the header, and it's come off the arm of the midfielder Larrea. It's certainly, I'm sure the VAR will be having a look at it, and play hasn't restarted yet.
Well, if it had gone straight to his arm, I'd say absolutely definite penalty. But his arm was still out. Maguire got the header and it's come back. His arm was out. It could be argued as in an unnatural position. The ball, we know how good Maguire is in the air, and he gets the header in first. His arm is out. It's so far away from the silhouette. That for me is a penalty, Jim.
Yes, I think that is a penalty with the way that the referees in Europe are told to interpret the law. I think that's a penalty.
It's not the exact same as the Harry Maguire, but it's similar in the sense that the arm was out. That again, he could argue it's not unnatural, but now you've gone one way, saying the arm there. He's been asked to go over and take a look at it. And if you gave the penalty with Harry Maguire in the first half, I think he's got to give it here.
So the ball has been headed down by Maguire. Larrea can't really see it necessarily. Maybe he can, but the right arm is out. I don't think it's in a particularly unnatural position for what he's trying to do as a defender, but the arm is out.
His arm's
to
out
the side of
way.
the body.
Jim, his arm's a long way out.
Yeah.
Now, he will turn around and say, well, hold on a minute. Harry Maguire's so close, I've got no chance to get my arm out of the way. His arm I don't think his arm should be out. I get it. As you jump, you have to have your arm up. But he's on his way down, and his arm still stayed in that same position, staying out. If anything, he's extended it even more. He's not trying to take it in. It's gone behind him, and because of the arm has been extended even more, I think that's got to be a penalty, especially the decision he made in the first half.
Does the referee agree? Yes. It is a penalty to the 10 men of Manchester United. Handball by Lucas Larrea. He's saying he was being pushed.
He wasn't being pushed. There was a slight kind of shove out the way from Harry Maguire on the man that was marking him, but not enough to give a foul. Now, I'll go back to it. If you're going to give a penalty for what he did with Harry Maguire in the first half, that's a penalty as well there.
Well, Manchester United have ridden the storm since Marcus Rashford's dismissal. Now, midway through the second half, the 10 men have the chance to regain the lead. Copenhagen, remember, missed a penalty right at the end at Old Trafford. They've scored one tonight from the spot. Bruno Fernandes up against Kamil Grabara. It's only going to be a 3 or 4 pace run-up. He stands just behind the ball to the left-hand side, motionless. White number 8 on his back, visible against the red shirt. Heart, I'm sure, beating extremely quickly. Addresses the ball right-footed into the top left-hand corner. It is a cool, calm penalty of epic importance. Copenhagen 2, 10-man Manchester United 3, and they've got a lead to protect again.
Brilliant, brilliant. I mean, take that situation out of it at the moment. I think they've been superb in the second half with a man down. I really do. Still dictated the tempo of the play with 10 men, and the way that Darlow sometimes going into midfield and it's Amrabat who's dropping in. But in that particular instance, Jim, I'm thinking, where would I go? And I'm thinking, right, go left. As you know, go down the middle. No, go right. You know, I'm sat here and I'm thinking I've got about 3 different minds. Bruno Fernandes, how good is he? He takes just one step, he looks up, and even if the keeper had gone the right way, there's no way of stopping that. What Harry Kane did and also meant in the World Cup, it was that type of penalty. To the goalkeeper's right, he dives to the left. As I say, even if he went the right way, he wasn't stopping that. Top corner.
And right on cue, Harry Kane has scored for Bayern against Galatasaray with 10 minutes to go in that game. Bayern 1, Galatasaray 0. Kane's 18th goal in 14 starts for Bayern Munich. And that is a minute that has transformed this group. So it stands Bayern Munich 12 points, Manchester United 6, Galatasaray 4, Copenhagen 1. Still 20 minutes left in this. But Manchester United 3-2 up, away from home, down to 10 men, standing firm, and they've regained the lead. Bruno's first Champions League goal in just under 3 years. 10 without a goal in this competition coming into tonight. But he held his nerve. And Manchester United now hold a lead.
I'll tell you what, Jim, a lot of people criticise Bruno Fernandes for his antics, and is he worthy of the captaincy of Manchester United? He is a leader of a point. Anyone who steps up in these situations to take a penalty is leading. And the pressure that he would have felt, well, he didn't show it. It was a wonderful penalty, it really was, and it's been a really good second half performance from 10 men United.
In the aftermath of that goal, Copenhagen have made a change at fullback. They've taken Ankersen off and they brought on Christian Sørensen, who's a left back, as they move Yellett over to right back. Sørensen coming on at left back. Blonde head, ponytail defender in his early 30s. 18 minutes to go. Copenhagen 2, Manchester United 3. Ball flicked round the corner, but Wan-Bissaka gets it away on the edge of his own box. Bruno out towards Højlund, and he's won a free kick. Let's go back to Arsenal. 6 minutes left there. Alex Krug.
It's still Arsenal 2, Sevilla 0, but a big injury concern here, not just for Arsenal, but for England as well. Bukayo Saka is hobbling off over on the far side. He went down inside the centre circle, holding his ankle. It wasn't a challenge, so he went down off the ball, Bukayo Saka. That will be a big concern for Gareth Southgate watching in the stands. Arsenal 2, Sevilla 0.
Thank you, Crookie. As I said, 5.5 to go in that game. This one, we've still got 18 minutes of normal time to go. Looks like Kivior coming on for Arsenal to replace Saka, incidentally. Just shutting up shop for the time that remains to get the job done. They're all but through. Not quite yet, because Lons are losing in Eindhoven, still 1-0. Inter have just scored from the spot. With 5 minutes to go of their game in Austria away to RB Salzburg. It's Lautaro Martinez penalty, and it's RB Salzburg 0, Inter 1, and that's Martinez's 14th goal in 15 games this season. That will be enough for them and Real Sociedad to both go through from that group tonight. This one, Bayern Munich are going through. providing that they can hold on to the lead. They qualify if they avoid defeat tonight. They win the group if they win, and United don't. But at the moment, United have their noses in front. 17 to go. 3-2 to United in a thriller. And down to 10 men from 3 minutes before the 45-minute mark. Since they've gone down to 10 men since Rashford's dismissal, they conceded twice, but they've subsequently scored and have the lead again. Sorensen to Oskarsson, who's also come on now. Ori Oskarsson, the Icelandic international striker who scored a hat-trick in one of the qualifying rounds. They had 3 qualifying rounds to get through Copenhagen, to get through to the group stage. Dix out towards the left. Sorensen with a deep ball in towards the far post. Rooney Bargi hooking it back across, and Nala comes out, punching it off the head of one of the defenders. Wan-Bissaka tries to take a touch and bring it down. The referee spotted an offside flag. Achuri, I think, is the player that went a little bit too early, and it's a free kick which United will take belatedly on the edge of their own box. 3-2 United.
I think it was for the high tackle, and I don't get that, because Wan-Bissaka's foot was just as high. You know, I'm thinking from a fullback's point of view, just be careful, someone's coming behind you, the ball's bouncing, don't let them nip in front of you, you catch them, he'll go down, and there's a penalty the other way. So Wan-Bissaka just almost took himself out the challenge. Again, both were just as high.
Harry Kane scored again, so that's 2 now in 6 minutes for him. Scored hat-tricks in each of his last 2 games. It's now 8 in his last 3, up to 19 for the season already for Bayern.
He's not bad, is he?
I think he's got a chance. He's got a chance. 2-0 Bayern Munich lead Galatasaray, and they're going through tonight. That's the other game in this group. It's a good result for United.
I actually think, by the way, just on a side issue, that as good as Jude Bellingham is right now, Harry Kane is our most important player. If he's not in that England team, then that's a massive drop with respect to others.
Sorensen plays the ball in. Bruno Fernandes blocks the cross that comes in. Copenhagen, you would expect to be pretty much planted around the edge of the United final third for the time that remains. Dalot went in strongly but fairly and squeezes the ball away. Garnacho able to flick the ball further clear off Larea and out of play for a throw. And you actually wouldn't put it past Manchester United to score again, because the game will play into their hands now. You think, I know they're down to 10, but Copenhagen have got to go for it, the situation that they are in, and United's strength, even a man like, is going to be on the counter-attack.
Well, that's what we talked about even at 2-2. You know, you expect Copenhagen, especially being at home, having the extra man as the game develops, they're going to try and attack, and maybe that counter-attack for United is a possibility. Definitely now it's 3-2.
They're going to make their final changes very shortly and bring on Jordan Larsson, Henrik Larsson's son, who had that penalty saved at Old Trafford. And Bullison is going to be coming on as well, the experienced centre-half. Amrabat's going to bring it away, though, for United. Garnacho looking tired, understandably so. Just stretched and couldn't reach that. Rooney Bargi picking it up now for Copenhagen. Good little reverse ball. Right footed swept inside the area where it takes a deflection, and Wan-Bissaka meets it on the half volley to sky a clearance and give Rasmus Højlund something to chase. It's going to be headed back, though, and picked up inside the centre circle by Dix. Dix with the ball forward, out to the Copenhagen left. Delayed game here after the first half stoppage time. We've got 13 minutes to go. Rooney Bargi inside the penalty area, slipping the ball away from Klaassen. Picked up by El Yunusi, driven in from him, and flicked away by Wan-Bissaka on the slide, now for another corner.
He's been brilliant, Wan-Bissaka. He really has. I think he's underrated. Look, he's not brilliant on the ball. He's not like a Trent or maybe even like a Reece James. But defensively, one-on-one, he's as good as Kyle Walker. He is. No one wants to take him on because he's so good, so athletic. You think you're past him and not. But he's positioned himself really well this evening, whether there's the ball coming in from the other side or the ball coming in from his side, and he knows exactly where to be.
So Jordan Larsson, son of former Manchester United player, comes on. So too Nicholas Bolasson, the defender. Bruno Fernandes heads the corner away. Felk will stretch and steer it back out wide. McTominay can head the subsequent cross away, and Bruno Fernandes volleys it further clear. Garnacho chasing after it, and a loose touch at the back by Oskarsson, I beg your pardon. Puts it out of play for a throw, which United will be in no hurry to take on halfway on the right-hand side. Jordan Larsson came on for Achuri, and Vavro, the shaven-headed centre-half, is the man that's been replaced by Bolasson, who as a 17-year-old, was actually linked with a move to Manchester United, and by all accounts, Christian Eriksen told him to sign for Ajax instead, and so he did, finding himself up against Manchester United in the Champions League more than a decade on. He was one of the players that played in that Europa League quarter-final defeat when the two sides met 3 years ago. It was a Bruno Fernandes penalty that day that won it. Might be again today. He's got it again. Fernandes pulling it back, but behind McTominay, who got his right foot to it, but it came in behind him, so he skied it over the bar. And a better, cleverer pass from Bruno Fernandes, which should have been forthcoming, might have made it 4-2.
Do you know what? It wasn't the best of passes than Bruno, but Scott McTominay had to slow himself down. It was always going to have to be a first-time shot. He was coming in too fast.
Dalot back defending in the left-back position for United. He's done really well. Keeps it in, prevents it going out of play for a corner, and then Garnacho got towards the ball, knew that Larrea would be putting a challenge in, so he stopped himself, invited the contact, and then a yelp of pain later. United have a free kick.
Well, this is what United need to do, don't they? Just kind of bring in the tackles, go down, take as long as you can as they come up to the 80-minute mark. I mean, it's a definite foul, and it's ridiculous defending, really. It's just what United want. Under pressure in that left-back area. Garnacho receives the ball, and now you can waste another 30 or so seconds.
They're in stoppage time at Arsenal. Here's Talksport's Alex Cruitt.
And it's still Arsenal 2, Sevilla 0. We're into the third of 6 added minutes. Leandro Trossard put them in front on 29 minutes. Bukayo Saka with a quite brilliant individual goal on 64. Saka has since hobbled off. That's the only negative for the Gunners. It's Arsenal 2, Sevilla 0.
So 3.5 minutes to go there. We've got 10 minutes of normal time to go, plus stoppage time in this one. Copenhagen 2, 10 Man United 3. And United have their first corner since Rashford's dismissal. Now Bruno Fernandes just acting as the dustman for a moment, as quite a few empty cups have been thrown in the direction of that corner quadrant. A lighter comes down there, which he is perfectly entitled to retrieve, and he will very slowly walk to the nearest official, walk away from that area where there's it's not a heavy torrent of missiles coming in by any stretch of the imagination, but why would you stand there when things are being thrown at you?
Yeah, one's too much, Jim. I mean, it looked like there was like a plastic glass, which you can't justify that anyway, but once lighters you start throwing on, I'm sorry, walk away.
So Fernandes to take this corner. 5 red shirts inside the 6-yard box. It's very, very deep. Grabara comes out. Maguire's headed it out of his hands. It's put into the net. It won't count. VAR, I'm sure, will have a look at it, but there's no way that's going to be overturned. Foul on the goalkeeper was the on-pitch decision, and in fact, players restarted immediately. It's Boldesen coming out from the back for Copenhagen. So much to get your teeth into with the boys on the sports bar after this. 03717 223344. It will be a slightly late start to that tonight, inevitably, because of the delay in this game. We've got 8.5 minutes of normal time to go, plus stoppage time, but the boys on the sports bar will be with you from about 10 past 10, something like that tonight. They've got to make sure that nothing is panic-stricken. Wan-Bissaka rifled the ball back at his goalkeeper there. Onana fielded it, but it went over the line and out of play for a corner. And it's a corner which Sorensen, the substitute, is going to take. Left-footed away swinger. Bounces down inside the penalty area. Larrea with an effort. Hits the knee of Wan-Bissaka. Goes wide. Clip back in. Felk on the edge of the penalty area. Trying to get away from Wan-Bissaka. He can't. United with everybody, apart from Garnacho, back inside the box. In comes the cross. And Larrea taps it in. United's resistance has crumbled with 8 to go. Lucas Larrea in the right place at the right time inside the 6-yard box. It's Copenhagen 3, United 3.
It's heartbreaking, really. United playing so well for so long. A man down, under pressure, and there's just the ball to the far post. Diego Dalot just not quite looking. He's looking at times as fullback should, the swivel head, ball and man, and then suddenly he's just looked at the ball for a couple of seconds without seeing Larrea coming in. And by the time he's realised he's there, it's too late. Onana, no chance. It's a really good ball in from Felt over the top of Harry Maguire. And just because Darlow hasn't quite looked quick enough, again, you know, that sort of swivel head, you've got to be doing it really quickly, seeing where your man is, seeing where the ball is. Difficult to position yourself body language wise, and that's why you've got to do it. Just switched off for a couple of seconds, that's all it takes.
So United make a change in the immediate aftermath of the goal. Mason Mount has come on and he's replaced a very frustrated looking Højlund. 3-3 the scoreline, and Mount seemingly is going to be playing as a number 9. The group as things stand right now: Bayern 12, Galatasaray 4, Man United 4, Copenhagen 2. All to play for over the last 2 games. But the difference between a draw and a win here is enormous. Massive. For Manchester United. Not to say that they won't be able to regain the lead, but down to 10 men, seemingly had done the hard work with that Bruno Fernandes penalty. And now they have to make sure that they don't lose this. If they do, they go bottom of the group with 2 games to go. The 2 games left, remember: Galatasaray away, Bayern at home. The only saving grace with that is that Bayern will have already qualified. They're 2-0 up tonight. In fact, they've won by 2-1. There was a very late goal there. Cedric Bakambu. Bayern 2, Galatasaray 1. Lons have had a player sent off. That seemingly will be academic. 1-0 down to PSV. Giavogi sent off in stoppage time. It's full time at Arsenal. Will be there in a moment. Here's Rooney Bargi on the edge of the penalty area, with good quick feed away from McTominay. Ball driven in towards the near post. It was firstly blocked. Wan-Bissaka hammers it away. Quick full-time details from Arsenal. Alex Crook.
Arsenal 2, Sevilla 0. Bukayo Saka made the first goal. A tap-in for Leandro Trossard on 29 minutes. He scored the second himself, Saka, after brilliant footwork to get his way round the defender and then finishing neatly beyond the advancing goalkeeper. He did hobble off with an ankle problem right at the end. It finishes Arsenal 2, Sevilla 0.
Rooney Bargi, left-hand side of the penalty area. Ball swept inside the box of Varane, knocks it away for United from his penalty spot. There's going to be a lot of defending to do in the 4.5 minutes plus stoppage time that remain. Copenhagen 3, 10-man Man United 3. Boleson. So Felt to his right-hand side. Always a man over on the right in Yellet for Copenhagen. That's where the numerical advantage is manifesting itself at the moment. Dix, the centre-half, making his way forward, along with Boleson. Ball out towards Sorensen. Sorensen, the left-back. Oscarson wants it into feet. Goes back for Felk. Felk inside the penalty area, the wrong side of his teammate. Over the line, out of play. Goal kick to Andre Onana and Manchester United with 4 plus stoppage time to go.
Yeah, you talk about the possibility of still winning this game, but I think it's now just making sure you don't lose it. A real killer blow right towards the end. I don't think United deserved it. I think it's been one of their best performances of the season, if not the best performance, especially considering what's happened in the second half. Controlling the first half up until that madness just before half-time.
And now Maguire has played it back to Varane, and Varane panicked. Rooney Bargi has it. His ball inside the area. Onana with the save. He beat it down towards the penalty spot, and it was inexplicably sliced wide by Klaassen. It's still in. It was such a bad shot. It was actually kept in down by the corner flag. Copenhagen come again. Boleson's ball in. It's taking a touch. Bargi! Rooney Bargi breaks Manchester United hearts and resistance. It seemed as though they'd done so much of the hard work. But Rooney comes back to haunt Manchester United. The young Swedish substitute sweeping it in. And now United, bottom of the group, really up against it. Their Champions League hopes are in severe danger. It's 4-3.
No, they don't deserve this at all. And this time the cross has come in, it's been headed out. And Bargi's just kind of held his ground, so the ball's fallen to him on his left foot. He's tried to keep it down, but it's not the sweetest of strikes on someone who's technically an excellent player. But what he has done, he's done it with power, He's done it with pace, and he's got the ball on target as well. Just wonder whether Onana could have shuffled over a little bit quicker. By the time the ball got close to him, it was past him. But that is heartbreaking for United. I'm sorry, don't deserve that. Well, you can say you get what you deserve, but I think that's been a really good performance. Heartbreaking at the end.
Copenhagen 4, Manchester United 3. 2 minutes to go, plus stoppage time. And United have just got to go for it now. Bottom of the group, as things stand right now, with 3 points. Copenhagen on 4, Galatasaray on 4, and Bayern have qualified with 12. Wan-Bissaka for United. High right-footed ball inside the penalty area is headed away before it gets to Garnacho. Brought down then by Diogo Dalot, who waves Garnacho towards it. Yellett clears it and has smacked it straight into the nearest Manchester United player and out for a throw which will be taken by Copenhagen. We're in the 90th minute. Topsy-turvy, extraordinary game. Copenhagen scoring on 45 and 45 plus 9, and then again on 83 and 87. And they lead Manchester United by 4 goals to 3. Rooney Bargi's 10th of the season. The substitute has just provided an enormous blow to Manchester United's aspirations. Dalot can't control a crossfield ball and has got to wearily get himself back in position, and Ten Hag stands, hands in the pockets of his dark grey overcoat, and he'll be reflecting on how this could and probably should have been a very, very different night. There have been some abject Manchester United performances over the course of this season. Within the 8 defeats that they've suffered, this certainly hasn't been one. But the bottom line is that when you're in a big game in Europe, a game that many people thought was must win, you simply cannot afford to lose. 5 minutes of stoppage time. United are 4-3 down. They're a man down. Bruno Fernandes coming across out towards the touchline. Good turn from him. Trying to get away from the nearest Copenhagen player, Klaassen, who's playing that little bit deeper now in midfield. More United complaints that they felt that there should have been a card in there, or that there was a free kick should have gone their way. I think against Larson for a handball.
Yeah, Bruno was claiming a handball, and I think it was just inside the box as well. As the ball's come to him, I'll tell you what, VAR didn't want to get involved in that. That would have taken a few minutes to decide.
Oh, we've seen 2 penalties, one at each end for a handball in this game, but not a third. Ball over the top from Dalot, straight behind the Copenhagen back line, and it goes through for Kamil Grabara. Your agenda with the boys on the sports bar might have changed somewhat over the last 10 minutes. 03717223344. You can have your say. Where does this leave Manchester United's season? Be a 9th defeat in 17 games in all competitions. It will leave them bottom of what, when it was drawn, looked not a routine Champions League group, but it certainly didn't look arduous.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree, Jim.
And now Varane trying to play out. He's struggled tonight since coming on. Doesn't look fit. Wan-Bissaka will be able to get it away. Varane looks as though he's playing by memory at times. Dalot goes back for Maguire. Still time for United, but not very much of it. 3 minutes of stoppage time here on Talksport. Manchester United lost in Bavaria 4-3, and they're 4-3 down in Denmark tonight. Long diagonal for Bruno Fernandes. Maguire is forward, trying to help it on. It's Maguire! Oh, he's hit the bar! Don't think he would have counted. The referee has spotted an infringement, has given a free kick Copenhagen's way. But Maguire with a howitzer thought for a moment he was going to tie it up at 4-4.
I'm not quite sure what he gave the foul for, because it wasn't Maguire. He came in. I don't think that's a foul. I think that's 2 people going for the ball. Maybe Mason Mount holding off his defender. It's irrelevant, really, because Maguire didn't stick the ball in the back of the net. And actually, with his technique, they should have kept that on target. You mentioned the Bayern Munich game. This is a very different 4-3 tonight.
Yeah, that was a 4-3 where Manchester United were flattered by the scoreline that they ended up only 1 adrift. Tonight,
They don't deserve this, Jim. They don't. I think it's been very harsh. I thought the sending off was harsh. It'll be defended by, IFAB and the referees. Of course it will. And they're going to turn around and say now it's a big mistake, but that definitely changed it. And then even 3-2 up, they looked in control.
A PSV 1, Lens 0, an important result elsewhere in Arsenal's group, incidentally. 2 minutes left in stoppage time in this one. United just need the ball. Copenhagen denying them that privilege at the moment. And the men in white will bring it forward. Out towards Rooney Bargi. The young Swede back in for Yellert, who has really caught the eye over the 2 games. Boleson, the canny defender at the back for Copenhagen. Out to the left for Sorensen. And he's played it off. Bruno Fernandes out of play for a throw. By the time he takes it, there's probably only going to be a minute to go. Yeah. It's not going to happen for United tonight. They're destined to lose this.
Well, they've still got 70 seconds plus. But I'll tell you what, you talk about game management. This is what Copenhagen need to be doing now. Make the pitch as big as possible. Keep the ball as much as possible. And the odd time, if it goes out, again, waste a bit of time. Or if you get a nudge, go down, win a free kick. But you're right, United can't even get hold of the ball at the moment.
Sorensen through the midfield, flicked off by Oscarson. Amrabat was in there to win it back. Trying to withstand the challenge. He's won the free kick. So it's now or never. Jordan Larsson's given this free kick away. United will flood everybody forward. Funny how things turn out. The 2 sides met a fortnight ago. United won it 1-0 and not many thought they deserved it. Tonight they're going to lose by a goal, and I don't think many will feel that they deserve that either. Perhaps justice has been done over the 2 games, that a points return of 3 apiece is about right. If it ends this way, it's all on this for United. A long throw. Dallo actually has taken it short. It's gone back for Garnacho. 10 seconds of the 5 minutes remain. Bruno Fernandes trying to ride a challenge. He's done that, shoots from distance. Goalkeeper spilt it. Boleson comes back, protects the ball. Grabara comes out, grabs it at the second attempt. And that should be that. Boleson has stayed down hurt inside his own penalty area. He will get back to his feet. I don't think there's going to be any more time. There isn't. A monumental win for Copenhagen. An enormous defeat for Manchester United. What damage has Rooney done to United and their Champions League hopes? At the moment it looks immense. He scored the final goal of the night, the 7th goal of the night. After a topsy-turvy game, United led it 2-0, then a red card. He went back to 2-2. They regained the lead in the second half, but conceded twice in the final 10 minutes. And they're bottom of the group with 2 games to go. Galatasaray away and Bayern at home. There will be a sense of reality about how it might all unfold from here. This is a result that will haunt Manchester United. Not a performance that will, but it's a result that has done potentially irreparable damage. Copenhagen 4, Manchester United 3.
Extraordinary game and an extraordinary look of Group A. Bayern Munich are through. They've won again. They're already there. They've already won the group. Second place is up for grabs, and sitting there right now, Copenhagen on 4 points. Galatasaray are third, also on 4 points. Man United, bottom of the group, on 3 points. And they do go to Turkey to face Galatasaray next. The last game at home to Bayern might mean Bayern play a weakened side because they've already won the group. We shall see. That might just play into Man United's hands. They might need players to be rested to get through the group. But Scott Minto, an extraordinary game of football that in isolation, this game alone tonight, I think even those who really dislike Manchester United on the balance of play would say they didn't deserve to lose it.
Do you know what, Aid? Isn't it amazing? After the Copenhagen game at Old Trafford, everyone was saying, oh, it's shocking, lucky to win that one, but they came away with 3 points. You know, Jim mentioned this earlier. It was a really good performance. I can't think of it off the top of my head. I can't think of a better performance this season by Manchester United. A lot of character, the way they dominated the game from the very first minute, scored early, 2-0 up, in complete control. You mentioned at half-time about that Højlund shot that I thought was quite powerful and was a very good save, but if it had gone in, I couldn't have seen Copenhagen coming back from that. But I still didn't see what came just towards the end of that first half, with Marcus Rashford being sent off, conceding not just 1 but 2. And then in the second half, somehow again controlling the tempo of the game with 10 men, and yet they went 3-2 up. You're sort of thinking, you've just got to hold out here And I talk about they didn't deserve that, but they switched off. Darlow at the back post, playing out of position. I thought he was superb on the night, but just switching off at that key moment. And in 3-3, you felt that Copenhagen, again, we talk about the psychology of the game and momentum, how it changes. It suddenly changed, and they believed they could go and get the winner. And it's about United not losing then after what happened. But in the end, they have, and, well, they might have to win both games now. And that's not going to be easy.
Certainly got to go to Turkey and get something from Galatasaray next game. Just going back, the clear turning point is the Rashford red card. Just briefly sum up your views. Did he deserve it, or was it really harsh? What are your views on it now?
Look, we had that debate, didn't we, at half-time, and you're right to come with some of the points that you made. From my point of view, he's trying to protect the ball by putting his foot in between the defender and the ball. I think there was a very unfortunate outcome. Before we even saw the still, I said if the referee has been asked to go over and he's shown that still, it could look like a leg-breaking tackle. That's why I'm not really into stills, to be honest with you. You need to see exactly what Rashford are trying to do. The intent wasn't there. I don't even believe it was reckless. It was just an unfortunate outcome. But in the end, it was given as a red card, and it definitely did change the course of the game.
It did. Scott, enjoyed your work tonight. But Manchester United are up against it. Sports Bar's coming up, 03717 22 33 44. Let me round up what's happened tonight.